Chapter 1322. If it was an ordinary person, under the rain of arrows, they would absolutely not have the ability to evade. But Yiqing Luo was different. Although she was trapped by the few killers, and had no way to display her fists and legs, but she had her own set of footwork. As she moved swiftly, not only did she avoid the rain of arrows, she also escaped the killer's encirclement. Her figure was like a ghost, and at the instant when she retreated, the glower flame fan in her hands swept up a hurricane as it struck towards the killers. That hurricane was totally different from the usual hurricane. When the hurricane struck one of the killer cried out miserably as his body fell limply onto the ground. The other killers were stunned by this scene. Their gazes were fixed on that killer. A sense of fear was born in their hearts towards the hurricane that Yiqing Luo casually set off. SSSSS. A sound as though something was being torn apart was heard. Everyone's gazes turned towards the direction of the sound. Then they saw. That originally limp corpse was like a fountain as thin lines of blood gushed out from its body. Even those killers who were used to killing scenes, and whose hands were stained with blood, were stunned by this strange scene. Just as the assassins looked at the corpse that was covered in blood, and was still gushing out like a fountain, a shrill scream rang out. Not knowing when, Yiqing Luo had broken through those killers' array, and circled to Shangguan Liuli's back. The feather fan flipped around her fingertips. A dagger slid out from the handle of the fan, as it stuck to housekeeper Shangguan's neck. Soundlessly, it took away housekeeper Shangguan's life. And at the next instance, Yiqing Luo's dagger, which was stained with blood, was already on Shangguan Liuli's neck. She didn't use much strength, just stuck to her neck. They could see the open wound on her neck and the blood oozing out. As it blended with the blood on the dagger, Shangguan Liuli's entire body turned stiff, as she didn't dare to move at all. Unbelievable. Yiqing Luo was actually able to get close to her silently and kill housekeeper Shangguan, under the situation where the gold medal killers were obstructing her? Gold medal killers. 2 gold medal killers. It was because of these 2 gold medal killers that Shangguan Liuli could be so unbridled. But these 2 experienced killers were the top 50 gold medal killers in the killer hall. He couldn't even touch the hem of Yiqing Luo's clothes. Yiqing Luo, you. Although she kept saying that she was going to die sooner or later after living in such a state, Gu Shijiu had no choice but to accept her fate. She was no longer afraid of death. But at the brink of death, Shangguan Liuli's heart still surged with a sense of fear. The coldness on his neck brought with it the feeling of sticky blood. The thick smell of blood filled her nose. Shangguan Liuli felt like vomiting. Don't be afraid, I'm just here to complete our bet. I won't kill you. Yiqing Luo's smiling voice was close to his ear. That laughter was sweet and pleasant. However, in Shangguan Liuli's ears, it was a voice from hell. Bet. Isn't that? He wanted to break her tendons and veins? Shangguan Liuli's face suddenly turned pale. Before he could open his mouth to beg for mercy, he felt a sharp pain in his arm. At some point, the dagger that was pressed against her neck had moved to her arm. It was just a gentle stroke. Fresh blood gushed out. Shangguan Liuli clearly felt that something in her arm seemed to have broken. A burst of tearing pain made her cry out miserably. Those killers speedily closed in on Yiqing Luo as they surrounded her. She heard that chilly voice as it rang indifferently. My target is only Shangguan Liuli alone. I didn't make a move because I don't want to go against the killer hall. If you insist on doing this mission, then don't blame the world group for not showing any mercy. Chapter 1323. The Hall of Assassins had a resounding reputation in the Nirvana realm. There were branches of the Hall of Assassins in all 4 continents. If it was possible, Yiqing Luo didn't want to have any conflict with the Killer Hall. To be precise, none of the mercenary groups wanted to have a conflict with the Hall of Assassins. Of course, even if Yiqing Luo were to kill these killers now, the Hall of Assassins would not go against the World Mercenary Group indiscriminately. After all, the Hall of Assassins had accepted the assassination. Yiqing Luo's retaliation was also a legitimate self-defense. But now, Yiqing Luo had given the assassin Hall enough face by saying these words. The killers naturally didn't doubt Yiqing Luo's ability. Earlier Yi Qingluo only moved her fan slightly and easily took away a killer's life. Without anyone noticing, he had quietly gotten close to Shangguan Liuli and killed the Shangguan housekeeper. It was enough to prove that as long as Yi Qingluo made a move, killing all of them wasn't a big problem at all. The few killers looked at each other in dismay, as though trying to guess the meaning behind Yi Qingluo's words. The two gold medal assassins exchanged the most glances. I am your employer. I spent a lot of money to hire you. If you all dare to defy the Assassin Hall's mission orders, I'll announce to the entire world that your Assassin Hall doesn't abide by credibility. Shangguan Liuli was not a fool. At this moment, how could she possibly allow Yi Qingluo to join forces with the Killer Hall to counterattack her? The expressions under the masks of the assassins changed in different ways. Each of them had their own thoughts. These people from the Hall of Assassins were usually very straightforward and decisive, killing as they pleased. They would not waste time going around in circles with their employers and mission targets. However, the situation today was different. How would a dead person announce it to the world? Yi Qingluo laughed softly. She slowly lowered her head and moved closer to Shangguan Liuli's ear. Her voice was so strange that it sent chills down one's spine. The well-trained killers of the Hall of Assassins are not fools. As long as I kill you, not only will the Hall of Assassins obtain all of your coins for free, but they will also be able to make another friend. Why not? Although these words were said to ridicule Shangguan Liuli, in fact, he was speaking to the dozen or so assassins. Making friends with the World Mercenary Group was secondary. Most importantly, to be friends with Yi Qingluo. To be friends with Yi Qingluo, who possessed a god relic, divine dragon and sacred beast. Perhaps he could follow Yi Qingluo's line and climb up to the Supreme Overlord? There were so many benefits. Why would he risk his life for this mission? Immediately, a gold medal assassin cupped his fists and said, "Sorry for the offense." With a flash, he disappeared into the night. The other killers naturally did not stubbornly adhere to the so-called professional ethics. Each of them waved their sleeves, not taking away a single cloud. Shangguan Liuli's body turned cold and stiff. Her eyes widened in disbelief as she looked in the direction the killers had left. The assassins of the Hall of Assassins really left? They actually abandoned their employer and fled? Meeting with Yi Qingluo's smiling eyes, Shangguan Liuli's entire body turned stiff. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. Could it be? The reason why he came to look for Yi Qingluo today was to personally deliver himself into her hands? No, that's not it. She wanted to perish together with Yi Qingluo. Looking at Yi Qingluo's complacent smile, Shangguan Liuli's eyes instantly shot out an intense murderous intent. Her eyes turned red as she suddenly raised her remaining hand and pressed hard against her own heart. Yi Qingluo, let's go to hell together. Chapter 13:24. Yi Qingluo was slightly astonished as her brows rose slightly, revealing a teasing smile. She had not expected Shangguan Liuli to use her own life to gamble, trying to self-explode and drag her to die together? How could she let Shangguan Liuli die so easily? Shangguan Liuli felt her heart was getting hotter and hotter as it expanded, as though it was going to squeeze her chest open. There was no longer any fear on her face. On the contrary, it was that kind of bone-chilling excitement. The excitement of facing death. As long as she thought that Yi Qingluo would die together with her, she didn't care about anything else. Just as her heart was about to explode, Shangguan Liuli's arm suddenly felt a sharp pain. Her swollen heart seemed to have been poked through a hole as it deflated instantly. What was going on? Shangguan Liuli's expression was aghast as she looked down at her own heart. How could this self-detonation stop? She clearly felt her heart expanding. What a pity. A chilly laughter rang beside her ears. Yi Qingluo's eyes narrowed slightly as she glanced at her with a faint smile. Poor little fellow, your self-explosion trick has been exposed. What other ways do you have to kill me? Yi Qingluo smiled brightly. Her smile was like a blooming flower, exceedingly beautiful. However, the dagger that slid out from her fan handle was doing something completely different from her expression. The sharp dagger shone with a silver luster. One stab at a time, carefully and slowly cutting Shangguan Liuli's other arm. Tendons severed. Shangguan Liuli cried out miserably as her arms hung limply by the side of the chair. Next. It's your two legs' turn. Yiqing Luo's voice was gentle as her smile was like an innocent young lady. The dagger in her hand followed along Shangguan Liuli's arm as the tip of the dagger pressed against her body, slowly sliding downwards. The icy cold touch made Shangguan Liuli not dare to move. Earlier when she self-exploded without any fear. At this moment, her tensed-up emotions completely relaxed. She was afraid. She was afraid. She didn't want to die. She didn't want to die in front of Yiqing Luo. Ah! The shrill screams made it impossible for Shangguan Liuli to think about anything else. She felt a sharp pain in her legs, as if something sharp had pierced through them. The smell of blood in the air was getting thicker and thicker. I cut the wrong place. Yiqing Luo cried out in surprise. I'm really sorry, I don't quite understand the tendons and meridians on the feet. Let's start again. Wrong again. Why is it so difficult to find the veins in your leg? Wrong again. This lasted for the time it took to brew a cup of tea. Both of Shangguan Liuli's legs were already covered with bloody holes. Yiqing Luo withdrew her feather fan and wiped her sweat. Finally cut off the tendons on your leg, it's really not easy. Shangguan Liuli screamed in pain, her voice hoarse. The pain in her body and the feeling of losing blood caused her to be in extreme pain. Shangguan Liuli screamed at the top of her lungs. You killed me. Kill me if you can. Just kill me. She would rather die than suffer such torture. So painful. So painful that she didn't even have the energy to bite her tongue to commit suicide. Our bet has come to a successful end. Yiqing Luo yawned and was about to say something. Chapter 1325. These words made Shangguan Liuli's chest constricted. A mouthful of blood gushed out from her throat. Would Yiqing Luo let her off? Would Yiqing Luo be so kind to send her back to the Shangguan family? How could that be possible? She wouldn't believe it. Shangguan Liuli suppressed the surging fishy taste in her throat as her eyes were like a ferocious ghost as she stared fiercely at Yiqing Luo. Yiqing Luo, I will not let you off even if I become a ghost. I will not let you off. That voice was filled with hatred and resentment. Yiqing Luo's brows rose slightly as her lips curled into an elegant smile as she squinted at her. Then you should at least have the chance to become a ghost. Shangguan Liuli's expression congealed as her pupils were filled with fear. What do you want to do? No chance to become a ghost? Could it be? Yiqing Luo wouldn't even let her soul off? It's not what I want to do, but you yourself gave up your own soul. Yiqing Luo raised her brows as she explained patiently. Shangguan Liuli shook her head in disbelief. But Yiqing Luo's melodious voice entered her ears like water flowing into her eardrums. You should know the price of cooperating with the dark forces. You used your own soul to exchange for the dark forces' energy. I thought that after you lost the interclass competition, the dark forces would directly take away your soul. I'm rather surprised that you're still alive until now. As she said that, Yiqing Luo bent down as she held the glower flame fan and lifted Shangguan Liuli's lower jaw. Tell me, why didn't the dark forces make a move on you? Shangguan Liuli's face turned pale in an instant. Her body also began to tremble. She knew. Of course she knew. The condition of cooperating with the dark forces was to use her own soul to exchange. But, other than that, the dark forces needed something more important than the soul. The dark forces chose her because of that thing. To be able to live till now, it was probably because of that thing. Shangguan Liuli raised her eyes as she stared at Yiqing Luo, with a pair of bloodshot eyes which were filled with hatred. Suddenly, she grinned as she gave out a maniacal laugh. Beg me. Beg me. If I'm happy I might tell you. Heh, Yiqing Luo sneered. I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you. Even if you beg me, I might not be happy and let you off. Her words had just ended when Yiqing Luo casually waved her hand. A hurricane rushed towards Shangguan Liuli. Shangguan Liuli's body was instantly swept up by the hurricane. Drops of blood flowed down his body and dripped onto the ground. Ah! A painful and shrill scream came from Shangguan Liuli. The hurricane that was stirred up was like a sharp blade. When it swept across Shangguan Liuli's body, It felt as if thousands of sharp blades were cutting into her body. His skin had already been slashed with countless scarlet wounds. Shiju. Yiqing Luo called out softly. A huge leopard beast appeared out of thin air. Under the night sky, his shiny black fur seemed to blend in with the night sky. His eyes were as deep as night pearls, like bright lanterns, especially eye-catching. Roar! Shiju growled in a low voice. Shengguan Liuli was overwhelmed with shock. Yiqing Luo! Yiqing Luo! What are you trying to do? Yiqing Luo wanted to let the war pet eat her up? This thought made Shengguan Liuli tremble in fear. She would rather Yiqing Luo give her a stab, to cut off all her pain. Chapter 1326. Hold her in your mouth. Yiqing Luo calmly gave the order. Shiju's figure was like the wind, and in the blink of an eye, it had caught Shengguan Liuli, who was swept up in the air by the hurricane, and held her in its mouth. Its sharp teeth shone with a piercingly cold light under the moonlight. Shengguan Liuli screamed. The rich smell of blood stimulated Shiju to swallow its saliva continuously. He licked Shengguan Liuli with his tongue. Shengguan Liuli's screams grew more and more shrill. Yiqing Luo, you can't do this. It can't eat me. If it eats me, it will violate the rules of battle pets. Perhaps she was frightened by Shiju's tongue. Shengguan Liuli didn't know where she got the strength from, but she kept struggling. The wounds on his body also split open due to the struggle. The blood that oozed out instantly filled Shiju's mouth. Shiju held Shengguan Liuli in its mouth as it let out a low growl, and its breathing became heavier. As a carnivorous battle pet, he could not eat such a delicacy. It was too torturous for a beast. Shiju. Yiqing Luo cried out sharply, awakening Shiju's consciousness. She beckoned to it. Shiju resisted the impulse in his heart as he speedily dashed towards Yiqing Luo's side. A lady who was drenched in blood and kept on struggling due to fear, landed in front of Yiqing Luo at a close distance. That pair of eyes, which had already been dyed red with blood, met with Yiqing Luo's peerless beauty as Shengguan Liuli stopped struggling. She stared at Yiqing Luo in terror, as her heart was filled with anger, hatred and resentment. But at this moment, his greatest feeling was fear. If she had to drag Yiqing Luo to die together with her, she wouldn't even bat an eyelid. But if she was tortured by Yiqing Luo to the point of living a life worse than death, she was afraid. Yiqing Luo was simply a devil. A demon who killed without spilling blood. At this moment, Shengguan Liuli saw a smile on Yiqing Luo's face. Her eyes widened in horror. He tried to move away, but Shiju's sharp teeth firmly bit her. Yiqing Luo's fingers pinched a tiny pill as she placed it by the side of Shengguan Liuli's mouth. No matter how Shengguan Liuli resisted, in the end, this small pill still entered Shengguan Liuli's stomach. What did you give me to eat? Shengguan Liuli's voice was hoarse as she screamed and wanted to vomit out the pill. Yiqing Luo only smiled. A pair of enchanting eyes glowed with a seductive luster under the night sky. Her pink lips slightly opened, and her voice was calm and indifferent. Shiju, take her to the Warcraft Forest and throw her to the 3rd or 4th floor. Watch her being eaten until not even her bones are left, and then come back to me. Shiju blinked its huge eyes. Don't even think about stealing it. If I find out that you have eaten human flesh, I will not hesitate to drive you back to your mother's side. Yiqing Luo's next sentence made the radiance in Shiju's eyes dim down. Roar, Shiju responded in a low voice. No matter how delicious human flesh was, it couldn't compare to being able to follow the owner. Holding Shengguan Liuli in its mouth, Shiju moved its limbs and dashed towards the direction of the magical beast forest. Shengguan Liuli's screams gradually drifted away. Yiqing Luo only retracted her gaze when the voice disappeared completely. She pulled out a handkerchief and carefully wiped the blood stains on the dagger. Looking at the dagger, which was glowing brightly once again, she then kept the glower flame fan properly. Following that, her charming eyes fixated on a certain spot in the darkness. Her gaze was calm, without any trace of emotion. How much longer do you want to peek? A chilly voice, dispersed along with the wind. Under the night sky, a crimson figure walked out from the darkness. A crimson-colored brocade robe, wrapped tightly around the young man's slender and tall figure. As the young man neared, the air seemed to be condensed, as though it was frozen by frost. Chapter 13:27. Long time no see, Castle Lord. Yi Qingluo looked at the young man in front of her, as she said with a smile. This man wasn't anyone else. He was Death God Castle's Castle Lord, Zhu Wuxian. Yi Qingluo discovered him squatting at the corner of the wall, because of his eye-catching shade of crimson. Or perhaps, Zhu Wuxian intentionally let her discover his existence. So Yi Qingluo temporarily stopped the torture on Shangguan Liuli. Speaking of this, Shangguan Liuli had to thank Zhu Wuxian for not letting her suffer such inhumane torture before she died. If Shangguan Liuli knew what Yi Qingluo was thinking about, she would probably vomit out a mouthful of blood, making her be eaten up by the battle pets. Wasn't this considered torture? Young Miss Yi has good methods. Zhu Wuxian's icy cold face was expressionless. His voice was as usual, apathetic and emotionless. Yi Qingluo knew that he was referring to the matter where she dealt with Shangguan Liuli. She didn't know how long Zhu Wuxian squatted at the corner of the wall, and how much he saw. Yi Qingluo couldn't be bothered to hide as her brows rose in interest. Don't tell me Castle Lord feels that I'm too vicious? You are indeed vicious and merciless. You fed that woman a pill to maintain her consciousness, right? Zhu Wuxin said coldly. Yi Qingluo only smiled as she didn't admit nor deny it. The pill which she fed Shangguan Liuli was indeed a pill to maintain her consciousness. That medicinal effect would last till the end of Shangguan Liuli's life. Before she died, even if she was dismembered by the magical beasts, Shangguan Liuli's body would be bitten into pieces by the magical beasts. Shangguan Liuli wouldn't die, nor would she faint from the intense pain. She would only feel clearly how her body was being torn apart, how she entered the magical beast's teeth. Yi Qingluo's smile was filled with a chilly intent. Since Castle Lord also feels that I'm vicious, then why bother me? Zhu Wuxian didn't reply. Using that pair of clear eyes, he stared at her face without blinking. Suddenly his figure moved. Before Yi Qingluo could react, a chilly breath sprayed onto her face. The cold touch touched her face. Yi Qingluo knitted her brows tightly, and was about to release her profound qi to counterattack. But she felt his fingers constantly groping the side of her face. His gaze was fixed on her face, as if he was searching for something. Yi Qingluo's resistance stopped. Her brows were still tightly knitted. Are you suspecting that I have disguised myself? The man's fingers that were constantly exploring the outline paused, and he said in a low voice, I can't rule out this possibility. The two of them were very close to each other. As Zhu Wuxin spoke, his warm breath landed on her face. Then did you find it? Yi Qingluo turned her face away unnaturally. She wasn't used to being stained with a man's aura other than DMO Xian's. Zhu Wuxin gazed deeply at her. His sharp and cold gaze met hers for several breaths of time. Then he let go of her. Yi Qingluo immediately took a few steps back and patted her own body. Your face is real. She wasn't sure if it was Yi Qingluo's misconception. She felt that Zhu Wuxin's voice had become much gentler when he said this. His aura wasn't as cold as ice like before. This change was because he had confirmed the authenticity of her face? Yi Qingluo narrowed her eyes as she sized Zhu Wuxin up carefully. She was silently guessing in her heart. This Zhu Wuxin seemed to know her, and they were very familiar with each other. Now he had come to confirm the authenticity of her face. Could it be? Chapter 13:28. Something wasn't right. She had taken over this body for such a long time. She had long become one with this body. In her memories there was no such person named Zhu Wuxian. For a man with such a strong presence like Zhu Wuxian, if she had met him before, how could she not recognize him? Had Zhu Wuxian remembered wrongly? Or had she really forgotten about Zhu Wuxian? Seeing Yi Qingluo remaining silent, Zhu Wuxian's gloomy gaze was fixated on her eyes, as though he was trying to find out some information from her gaze. Their eyes met, and after some time, Yi Qingluo's brows rose as she gave a teasing smile. I'm so sorry to disappoint Castle Lord. The one who has this face is a vicious and merciless woman. Following that, a cold intent flowed past her charming eyes. She smiled faintly. So Castle Lord, don't be affected by this face of mine. Saying that, she turned around and strode into the night. Her red dress was as enchanting as a blooming rose. As she walked, it was as though she was a raging flame. As she drew an arc in the air like the setting sun. Momentarily, it dyed Zhu Wu Xian's clear eyes red. The expression on his face at this instance had some changes. He fixed his gaze on Yi Qingluo's departing figure. Until Yi Qingluo was about to disappear, that serene and cold voice floated into Yi Qingluo's ears along with the wind. If you want to live on, being vicious and merciless is a necessary method. You're not wrong. Yi Qingluo's footsteps halted. When she turned back, that crimson figure had already disappeared. That sentence of his. What did it mean? Was he finding an excuse for her vicious and merciless actions? Although that was what he said, but his tone was filled with helplessness and a tinge of desolation. What was he trying to do? Did he feel that she would be able to live better in this world in this way? Or did he feel that the current her and the one in his memories was different? Just as she was searching for those memories of herself and Zhu Wu Xian, her waist suddenly tightened as an elegant sandalwood scent entered her nostrils. Warmth instantly enveloped her petite body. Yi Qingluo's body stiffened, and after she felt the familiar embrace, she softened. Before she could even open her mouth, her body was forcefully straightened, facing the man. An overbearing and forceful kiss landed on her lips. This kiss seemed to be asking for something urgently, scorching and overbearing, making Yi Qingluo unable to catch her breath. Xian. Yi Qingluo's muffled voice spilled out from her entwined lips. You how? What responded to her was an even more intense kiss. Not knowing how long had passed, Yi Qingluo felt dizzy and her body turned soft like a puddle of water before Dmo Xian stopped this suffocating kiss. She leaned against his chest, gasping for air. The powerful arm around her waist tightened even more. Xian. She gasped lightly as she called out Dmo Xian's name. Beside her ears, the sound of the man's heavy breathing came wave after wave. The scorching air hit her skin. After hugging for a long time, Yi Qingluo's breathing finally adjusted. She lifted her head, her eyes still containing a hint of seduction. When she met with that pair of peach blossom eyes which seemed to bear all the tenderness in the world, Yi Qingluo's heart trembled fiercely. She looked at his eyes in a daze, as though she had already sunk into that peach blossom forest, unable to extricate herself. Other than me, you're not allowed to think of any other man. Chapter 1329. Was he jealous? He had heard the conversation between her and Zhu Wu Xian earlier. Yi Qingluo's brows overflowed with a smile as she cupped his face with both hands. Xian, you're too overbearing. The man's brows rose slightly. Can't I be overbearing towards my own woman? Alright. Yi Qingluo laughed as she fell into his arms as her little head rubbed against his chest like a kitten. I like Xian's overbearingness. After some time, there was no response from the man. She raised her eyes in puzzlement as she met Dmo Xian's slightly blushing face. She was stunned as though she had discovered a new continent as her eyes widened. Her curious hands cupped his face tightly, as she wanted to take a closer look. Dmo Xian's large palm, however, held her two little hands in his palm. Forcefully and overbearingly, he pressed her head into his arms. That boiling hot chest, that heart which kept on beating rapidly, scorched Yi Qingluo's face. Yi Qingluo lay in his arms in a daze, not struggling at all. Did she see wrongly? Earlier Dmo Xian was shy. The Dmo Xian who teased her till her pink bubbles were about to swell. Teased her till her amorous heart was in turmoil. Teasing her till she didn't want it anymore. He actually felt shy. Because of a sentence from her, he felt shy? Was she seeing things or her eyes twitched? You're interested in Zhu Wu Xian. A low hoarse voice floated from above her head. His voice was tense, as though he was anxiously trying to change the topic. But this indeed made Yi Qingluo shift her gaze. After all, taking the opportunity when Dmo Xian was shy, to tease him or something. This thought was not valid. She was totally sure. Once she took the opportunity to tease Dmo Xian, she would absolutely not tease Dmo Xian till his pink bubbles were about to swell. and would not tease Diemo till his amorous heart was in turmoil. On the contrary, she would once again be teased by Diemo, shouting, don't. Without a doubt, the ending would definitely become like this. Hence, Yiqing Luo obediently followed Diemo topic, denying flatly, no. Staring at his departing figure with a pensive look, you're still saying no. Her nose was pinched harshly by his fingers. Diemo expression was unfriendly. His hand even touched your face. Cough, cough, cough. Yiqing Luo suddenly coughed out. How much did you see? Diemo expression was gloomy as he spat out word by word. From head to tail. In other words, Diemo had been following behind her? Watched the entire process? Ugh. She was indeed jealous. Yiqing Luo weakly raised her little claws. I request for an explanation. Approved. Diemo spat out a word. Yiqing Luo's eyelashes fluttered as she speedily explained her guess that she might know Chu Wu Xian, and Chu Wu Xian suspected that she was in disguise. He rattled off a long string of words without even taking a breath. A man soaked in a vinegar jar was very scary. Although it was clear that Diemo believed that there was nothing between her and Chu Wu Xian. But even if it was nothing, he would still feel uncomfortable. Think about it from another perspective. She believed that nothing would happen between Diemo and Feng Ling. But if Feng Ling kept pestering Diemo, she would still feel unhappy. Hence Yiqing Luo didn't hold back, as she explained the entire sequence of events clearly. Diemo fingers brushed past the contours of her face, as he squinted his peach blossom eyes. I'm just confirming if you're in disguise or not. Yiqing Luo nodded her head like a little chick pecking rice. Chapter 1330. Yiqing Luo's lips felt extremely scorching from his slender fingers. Look. This man was flirting with her again. His flirting was so natural that it made one blush. Earlier she must have seen wrongly when she saw him being shy. His ability is above mine and his speed is also above mine. I didn't intentionally let him touch me, so you can't blame me. Yiqing Luo pursed her lips as her eyelids drooped down. Chu Wu Xian was standing right in front of her in an instant. She didn't even have a chance to react. Furthermore, he wants to prove if I'm the real Yiqing Luo. If I don't let him personally verify that I'm not in disguise, then things will become even more complicated. Just as she was saying that, Diemo finger took the opportunity to enter her lips. So you obediently allowed his dirty hand to touch your face? The man's voice was extremely soft, revealing a sliver of dangerous aura. His low and hoarse voice gave off an intoxicating allure. Yiqing Luo felt a chill down her spine. The finger that was moving on her teeth seemed to have some magical power. Her heart started to beat faster. The blushing young lady raised her eyes slightly. A pair of bewitching eyes looked towards Diemo. Then, how do you want to punish me? Under the silent night, Yiqing Luo clearly heard the man's throat making a rumbling sound. That peerless face was covered with an expression that made her blush to her ears. His gaze was naked, as though he could see through her clothes and see everything about her. Diemo long arms tightened, as he couldn't wait to rub the young lady's soft body into his body. His hoarse voice was filled with magnetism. There's still a few more days. Yiqing Luo trembled slightly. She knew what he was asking. How many more days was her menstruation period? Perhaps it was because she had been teased by Diemo for a long time. Her body was already used to Diemo touch and teasing. Just sniffing his scent and listening to his voice, Yiqing Luo felt her legs turning into jelly as her entire body felt limp. She didn't get any response from the young lady. Diemo brows rose slightly as the hand which was around her waist suddenly moved downwards towards her abdomen. Not willing to say? Then I'll check personally. Just as it reached her lower abdomen, the hand was pressed down by the girl in a panic. The young girl's red face was filled with anger and humiliation. Beast. Yiqing Luo gritted her teeth and spat out. Test, test, test. What the hell are you doing? As he said that, he angrily flung Diemo hand away. They were still on the street. There was even a corpse lying on the ground. Was it really okay for him to touch her body like that? Even if he was in heat, he had to look at the place. Yiqing Luo glared at the man who had an evil smile on his face and pushed him away. Go back to the mansion, come back tomorrow to apply for leave. Looking at the back view of Yiqing Luo leaving in a huff, Dmo Xian laughed heartily. The more she laughed, the faster Yiqing Luo left. The moment she turned around, her entire face was flushed red. She couldn't help but think to herself, if I had known that I would fall into the hands of this man, I would have done more research on seducing men in the 21st century. Then she flirted with Dmo Xian till he didn't want to. The next day, after Yiqing Luo woke up, she didn't see Dmo Xian's figure as usual. She rubbed her forehead and muttered to herself, beauty is the bane of men. Being teased left and right by Dmo Xian, she had forgotten to tell him about what she had overheard in the academy. She also forgot to ask where he had gone for the whole day. If she saw him today, she must ask clearly. Chapter 1331. After walking out of the room, the door of Yan Xiaoyi's room was already wide open. Yiqing Luo walked over. As expected, she saw Shi Shanglan feeding Yan Xiaoyi medicine gently. Yan Xiaoyi was drinking the medicine with a blank look. Her eyes were empty and lifeless, not knowing what she was thinking about. Shi Shanglan said something in a low voice but didn't get any response from Yan Xiaoyi, but he still continued to talk. Hearing a sound from the door, Shi Shanglan stopped his rambling and turned his head towards the door. When he saw Yiqing Luo, he smiled warmly. Good morning, Miss Yi. Good morning. Yiqing Luo walked into the room and took a look at the medicinal soup in Shi Shanglan's hands. Today the academy is summoning the students back to the academy. I intend to apply for leave for them, so I'll have to trouble young Master Shi to take care of my brothers. Xiao Yi's brothers are my brothers. Miss Yi, please rest assured. Shi Shanglan put down the medicinal soup in his hands and smiled sincerely. Yiqing Luo's vision fell onto the medicine bowl, which was put down. A deep meaning flashed past her eyes. Shi Shanglan seemed to have noticed that his actions were inappropriate as he hurriedly reached out to take that medicine bowl. Yiqing Luo's speed was faster than him. It's still early to go to the academy. I'll accompany Xiao Yi. Yiqing Luo took the medicine bowl and sat down by the bed. Shi Shanglan retracted his hand sensibly. I'll go take a look at the other brothers first, if there's anyone who needs my help to take care of. Shi Shanglan walked out of the room. Yiqing Luo didn't say a word as she silently fed Yan Xiaoyi the medicine. Yan Xiaoyi didn't seem to notice that the person feeding her the medicine had changed. She only swallowed mouthfuls of bitter medicinal soup in a daze, without even batting an eyelid. Until the bowl of medicinal soup was emptied, the two of them didn't say a single word. Yiqing Luo's vision swept to a corner outside the room. The smile at the corner of his mouth deepened. Shi Shanglan was still outside the door and hadn't left. He thought that he had concealed it well. But with Yiqing Luo's perceptive ability, she could totally sense Shi Shanglan's presence. The minute she stepped into this room, Yiqing Luo sensed that something was wrong with Shi Shanglan. For 2 consecutive mornings, Shi Shanglan had been feeding Yan Xiaoyi medicine. And earlier, when she said that she wanted to apply for leave, Shi Shanglan subconsciously put down the medicinal soup. Obviously, his mind wasn't on feeding Yan Xiaoyi the medicine. Otherwise, no matter what he heard, he would not have stopped feeding the medicine. Now that he was quietly hiding outside the door, it was obvious that he was trying to find out some information. This Shi Shanglan. There was indeed a problem. Yiqing Luo narrowed her eyes as she placed the bowl of medicine aside. Perhaps it was because the house was too quiet. If Shi Shanglan stayed any longer, he would be easily discovered. In the end, he left quietly, until Shi Shanglan's aura completely disappeared. Yiqing Luo then calmly opened her mouth. Jinzi came looking for you? When he heard the words Jinzi, his dull eyes blinked. After some time, the focal length converged onto Yiqing Luo's face. Yan Xiaoyi was stunned. Qing Luo, why are you here? Yiqing Luo's slender fingers caressed that pair of obviously swollen eyes. Have you spoken to Jinzi? When he watched Yan Xiaoyi sleep last night, she was still fine. When she woke up this morning, she saw Yan Xiaoyi's red and swollen eyes, looking as though she had lost her soul. Other than Xiao Jin, there was probably no one else who could make Yan Xiaoyi reveal such an expression. Yan Xiaoyi shook her head as her head leaned towards the direction of the bed. He only wished me and Shi Shanglan happiness. The last two words were said with great difficulty. Yiqing Luo's lips twitched. What was Qiao Jin up to? Did he really intend to give up on Yan Xiaoyi and wish Yan Xiaoyi and Shi Shanglan happiness? Chapter 1332. At this moment, Yiqing Luo simply didn't know what to say. Yiqing Luo expressed that she really couldn't understand Qiao Jin's train of thought. He would only be satisfied if he saw Yan Xiaoyi and Shi Shanglan living happily and happily. Last night, he came to my room to check on my injuries. Yan Xiaoyi's voice was very soft, almost inaudible. After that, she laughed softly. I thought he liked me. Otherwise, why would he specially come to check on my injuries in the middle of the night? That laughter revealed obvious bitterness. Yiqing Luo's pink lips moved, but ultimately she didn't say out Qiao Jin's thoughts. There was no doubt that Qiao Jin liked Yan Xiaoyi, but he chose to give up. Just like what Dmo Xian had said. Although Qiao Jin was a timid person, but he would not go so far as to personally push the woman he liked into someone else's arms. He had his own reasons for doing so. He had his own difficulties that he couldn't tell them. Qiao Jin had many secrets on him. This was something that Yiqing Luo knew. He had his reasons for giving up on Yan Xiaoyi. As an outsider, it's not good for her to point out Qiao Jin's feelings towards Yan Xiaoyi. Perhaps, it would be more harmful to the two of them if they made things clear. Dmo Xian had specially instructed her not to interfere in their relationship. Looking at Yan Xiaoyi's sad look, Yiqing Luo couldn't bear to see her like this. His heart was in a mess. She let out a long sigh. But he said that he felt guilty because of what he did to me. He felt that he had let down my fiancé. Yan Xiaoyi's voice became increasingly broken and trembling. Haha, fiancé. I've never acknowledged Shi Shanglan as my fiancé, but he kept putting Shi Shanglan as my fiancé. Then he smiled. His smile was very sincere and filled with blessings. He asked me to live a good life with Shi Shanglan, and asked me to marry him as soon as possible. She was pushed by the man she loved to another man. This kind of pain was like a sharp knife, ruthlessly stabbing his heart. He was in so much pain that he wished he was dead. Marriage? How could she accept this? He wasn't the one they were going to marry. Yan Xiaoyi's voice was already choking. Towards the end, he was almost choking with sobs. She seemed to recall the scene last night when Qiao Jin said these words to her. Yiqing Luo's heart ached, but she couldn't say anything to comfort her. In the end, he could only sigh helplessly. Holding a handkerchief, he bent over to wipe the tears from the corners of her eyes. At this time, it was useless to say anything else. He could only stay by her side silently. Tell her at least she is not alone. The room fell into silence. About an hour later, Long Yunjan's voice came from outside the door, telling her to return to the academy to apply for leave. Yiqing Luo stuffed the handkerchief into Yan Xiaoyi's palm, and was just about to get up when her sleeve was tugged by Yan Xiaoyi. Startled, she turned to look at Yan Xiaoyi. Yan Xiaoyi's gaze was resolute as the corners of her mouth curled into a strange smile. Since he wishes me and Shi Shanglan, all right, I will fulfill his wish. Huh? Yiqing Luo knitted her brows. Do you know what you're saying? I'm very calm. Yan Xiaoyi nodded calmly with a smile on her face. Feelings can't be used to act out of spite. You'll only hurt yourself in this way. Yiqing Luo realized what Yan Xiaoyi wanted to do, and immediately dissuaded her. I know I'm very calm now. Although she said that. But Yan Xiaoyi's eyes revealed a chilly intent, with a hint of madness. Extremely shallow, totally indiscernible madness. Chapter 1333. Qing Luo, what's wrong? Outside the door, Long Yunjan's voice approached. Yiqing Luo took a look at Yan Xiaoyi, whose eyes were red. If Long Yunjan saw Yan Xiaoyi like this, he would definitely ask for the reason. After asking for the reason, it would be especially awkward. Yiqing Luo hurriedly stood up and shouted towards the door. Don't come in, I'll be right there. After saying that, he turned around and patted Yan Xiaoyi's hand lightly. Xiaoyi, rest well first. Don't think too much about other things. Wait for me to come back. Yan Xiaoyi didn't answer. She just pulled the corners of her lips and smiled. Yiqing Luo held her little hand tightly. Worried that Long Yunjian would push open the door and enter, he didn't stay any longer and left Yan Xiaoyi's room. Before closing the door, she looked deeply at Yan Xiaoyi. Yan Xiaoyi's expression was calm as she quietly laid on the bed. Her gaze was fixed in front of her, and no one knew what she was thinking. Thinking about it, Yiqing Luo was still worried. After telling Long Yunjian to wait for her for a while, she went to Kitty Li's room. In Kitty Li's body flowed the blood of the beastmen. Its ability to heal wounds was extremely strong. And in the competition, Yiqing Luo didn't allow Kitty Li to go up on stage. Thus, Kitty Li's injuries had mostly healed. Unlike the other brothers who couldn't get out of bed and walk around, she could already walk around the mansion. Yiqing Luo asked Kitty Li to go to Yan Xiaoyi's room to accompany her for a chat. At least, it wouldn't let Yan Xiaoyi's imagination run wild. Towards what Yiqing Luo had instructed, Kitty Li agreed to it. Heavenly Academy. On the holiday after the competition, the entrance of the academy was packed with people. It was extremely lively. Everyone's mouths were discussing the ending of the interclass competition, as well as the rise of the devil class. There were also quite a few people who said that they had been chatting happily with some faction in the past 2 days, or that they wanted to join some faction, and so on. But very quickly, this kind of bragging was suppressed by the craze of devil class. Have you heard? Devil class is Yiqing Luo. Didn't she establish a mercenary group? And yesterday she got someone to burn the mercenary group's base to death. It is said that more than 100 charred corpses were carried out from the base. Yiqing Luo's character is so arrogant, relying on her own power, totally not giving others any face. Offending others is a matter of time. Even if she were to be burnt to death, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Student Yi is arrogant, but that's because she has the capital to be arrogant. If you have the ability, why don't you try being arrogant as well? Bah! Yiqing Luo's brainless fan, you lackey. Saying the grapes are sour when you can't eat them. People like you deserve to look up to classmate Yi for the rest of your life. As the discussion went on, it inexplicably turned into a fight. Immediately a peacemaker changed the topic. Don't get your attention wrong, what I mean is that mercenary group which Yiqing Luo established, the mercenaries inside, are actually devil classes students? How is that possible? This guess was refuted by the majority of the students. The students had all heard of Yiqing Luo's mercenary group. On the second day after it was established, it was promoted to a bronze mercenary group. Even a complex mission could be completed with only 60 or so members. It could be said that the World Mercenary Group had a little fame in the mercenary world, and anyone who mentioned it couldn't help but raise their thumbs up. Devil classes students. Were the World Group's members? Was this a joke? Chapter 1334. It was just a guess, but it quickly spread like wildfire. More than half of the people who believed that Devil classes students were the World Group's members. Because as long as the number of Devil classes students and the World Group's members were compared, the answer would be revealed. When Yiqing Luo and Long Yunjian both appeared, they heard the bustling discussions around them. Very quickly, someone noticed Yiqing Luo's arrival. Heavy responsibilities' eyes immediately lit up. They were obviously wearing the academy's uniform, green and white robes without any patterns at all. No matter how one looked at it, it looked old-fashioned. But unfortunately, on Yiqing Luo's body, it looked so elegant and moving. The green and white long robe made Yiqing Luo's devastatingly beautiful face look even more holy and elegant. A pair of dazzling eyes drew a long and charming arc momentarily. Numerous male students' gazes were glued onto Yiqing Luo. Ah, look quickly. It's Yiqing Luo. The one beside her. Why does he look familiar? Look at that pair of eyes. Long Yunjian didn't disguise himself today. He used his original looks to display in front of everyone's eyes. But Long Yunjian's unique azure blue eyes were extremely recognizable. Just one look, and quite a number of students recognized him. This was the Devil class monitor whose ability was second only to Yiqing Luo in the interclass competition, Long Yunjan. Devil Class Monitor is just too handsome. No wonder he had to disguise himself when he took part in the interclass competition. What disguise? I saw him in the competition. He changed into another person. You're just jealous that Devil Class Monitor's ability is so strong and handsome. Tisk. Damn love-struck fool. The surrounding students stared at Long Yunjan as they discussed noisily. Yiqing Luo and Long Yunjan didn't bother about the surroundings. Under the escort of numerous students, the two of them directly walked into the academy. Behind them, a large group of people followed. Their mouths kept on discussing about Devil Class, the World Mercenary Group, and that fire the day before yesterday. Along the way, they arrived at the director's office in a grandiose manner. The director heard the teacher's report that 2 students from Devil Class wanted to meet the director. The teacup in the director's hand almost dropped onto the ground. Why did Yiqing Luo, that plague god, look for him so early in the morning? Could it be, now that they knew about his relationship with the Dark Faction, they wanted to seek revenge? Yiqing Luo's backing was the Imperial Palace. For Yiqing Luo, the Imperial Palace's disciples had already sent out their troops, constantly harassing and attacking the dark forces. Although he had never been to the underground forces, he had been working for them for many years. In the underground organization, the dean had his own people. He knew that the Wolf Saint technique's influence had been affected because of the Imperial Palace's recent momentum. If he was implicated in this matter, he might not be able to hold his position as the principal for long. Director was feeling apprehensive, but outside the director's room, not only were there Yiqing Luo and Long Yunjan, there were thousands of students. He could not refuse to meet the students of the class that had won first place. Suppressing the uneasiness in his heart, the principal waved his hand and invited them in. What made the dean rejoice was, Yiqing Luo didn't have the slightest bit of doubt towards him. After entering the director's office, he went straight to the point and asked for leave. The dean heaved a sigh of relief, but his heart felt inexplicably guilty. Hence Yiqing Luo used the excuse that Devil Class's students had suffered serious injuries in the competition and had to stay in bed to recuperate, to request for half a month's leave. Chapter 1335. Yiqing Luo smiled slightly as she politely thanked him. She squinted her eyes as she sized up the director with a smile which didn't look like a smile, as she couldn't help but laugh in her heart. She didn't know how this director managed to survive for so many years without anyone noticing anything strange about him. He was just here specially to meet him, and he was so scared that he broke out in cold sweat. Such a timid person. Even the dark forces dared to use him. Oh right, it was because director was timid that the dark forces dared to rush in. Yiqing Luo hid the disdainful sneer in her eyes as she smiled faintly. Thank you, director, for empathizing with the students. I represent Devil Class students to thank director. Actually, Ghost Doctor had mentioned to me about the matter of applying for leave earlier. Director beamed as he said, trying his best to maintain his calm expression. With Ghost Doctor personally treating Devil Class students will definitely recover as soon as possible. With director's auspicious words, Devil Class students will definitely recover as soon as possible. Yiqing Luo smiled as she said, so, Devil Class's reward this time will probably have to be delayed. What does director think? How about after the academy's exchange meet? Director's smile froze. He then recalled that Yiqing Luo had challenged Zi Qianqian and won, so she could choose 10 students to enter the class of gods to learn. Enter the class of gods to learn. It wasn't just learning, but specially selected to become his lordship's food. These 10 students were outstanding students who had gone through several rounds of competitions and were finally chosen to enter the class of gods. Although it was called training, it was actually to become the most delicious food and to undergo a month of rearing before presenting them to his lordship. Now, the students of the Devil Class obtained victory. Even if they chose the strongest 10 students in Devil Class, no matter how they reared them, they would still be inferior food. His lordship would definitely blame him. Of course, this was the rule that had been set over the years. If he rejected devil class, not only would he not be able to answer to the world, he would not be able to answer to the main courtyard. Thinking of this, Director broke out in cold sweat. Does Director feel that my suggestion is inappropriate? Yiqing Luo half squinted her eyes as she looked at him with a smile which didn't look like a smile. Director suddenly regained his senses as he raised his hand to wipe the sweat off his forehead. Not knowing why, the more he faced Yiqing Luo, the more he felt guilty. It was as if that pair of quick-witted eyes had already seen through everything in his heart. Then it's decided. After the exchange meet, the students from the class of devils will go to the class of gods to continue their studies. The dean adjusted his own mentality, trying hard to maintain the calmness in his heart. Speaking of the Academy Exchange Conference, he had forgotten, when the time came, he just had to think of a way to let the devil class students go to the blazing flame nest. Everything after that would be left to the Wolf Saint Law. As long as all the devil class students died in the blazing flame nest, he would then be able to arrange for other food to enter the class of gods to be raised, no trained. With that thought in mind, the dean's anxious heart finally calmed down. In order to perform well in the Academy's exchange meet a month later, I'll have to trouble student Yi to take good care of the students of devil class, and strive to recover as soon as possible. Yiqing Luo smiled lightly. I will definitely not disappoint Director. She emphasized the word disappointed, with a hidden meaning. Right now, the headmaster's thoughts were all on how to trick the students of the various academies into going to the flame nest during the exchange meet. Thus, he did not understand the deeper meaning behind Qin Lai's words. His gaze landed on Long Yunjian, who had not spoken a single word since entering the dean's office. Chapter 1336. This is. Director's expression turned slightly strange. His vision stared at Long Yunjian's eyes without blinking. This azure blue gem-like eyes. Why did it look so familiar? In the bottom of his heart, a strange feeling started to spread. This is Devil Class Monitor Long Yunjian. Director should have seen him during the interclass competition. Yiqing Luo didn't miss any expression from Director. His astonishment and strangeness were all in her eyes. Only she didn't understand. Why would Director use such a gaze to look at Long Yunjian? Could it be that he knew Long Yunjian previously? Devil Class Monitor. Director muttered a few words. In his memory, he had indeed seen this young man with a pair of blue pupils that day during the competition. But this face, this pair of eyes. He was Devil Class Monitor? Could it be his lordship? Director, is there any problem? Yiqing Luo's puzzled voice was heard. Director's deep thoughts were interrupted. He immediately kept his emotions, shook his head and waved his hand, as though he was anxious to draw a clear line. No problem, I just feel that Devil Class Monitor and the previous competition looks different. Yiqing Luo didn't hide it, because Ajan is also a member of the world group. If we don't disguise ourselves during the competition, if we are discovered by other mercenary groups, then Devil Class will not be able to compete in peace. Disguise. Director's face turned pale once again. This made him recall the scene of Butterfly Saint Technique disguising herself as Lu Shuiyu to participate in the finals. Although Director was suspecting if those so-called disguise students and Devil Class students were the same, but he couldn't show it out. After all, there was already Butterfly Saint Technique. If they really wanted to investigate the matter of disguise, Butterfly Saint Technique could easily be implicated. It's getting late, I have to go and chat with the elders. You need to recuperate from your injuries, go back first. Director waved his hand. Yiqing Luo bid farewell to Director, and left the Director's office with Long Yunjian. Before leaving, Yiqing Luo specially observed Director's expression. As expected, Director's gaze was fixed on Long Yunjian, as though he was confirming something. Director, he had met Long Yunjian previously, and there seemed to be some special relationship. After walking out of the Director's office, Yiqing Luo's peripheral vision swept the surroundings as she suppressed her voice. Ajan, have you and the Director met before? I don't remember. Long Yunjian also noticed that there was something wrong with the dean's strange gaze. His handsome brows furrowed slightly. Ever since I can remember, I've been in the devil class for almost 5 years, but I've never met the dean face to face. Yiqing Luo remained silent for a moment. There's a possibility. Director knows about the memory you've lost. The look in the dean's eyes was not as simple as he said. In Long Yunjan's memory, he had never had a face-to-face chat with the dean. In other words, other than Long Yunjan's memories, the dean had seen him before. Where and under what circumstances did he meet Long Yunjan? Perhaps through the principal, he would be able to retrieve the lost memories of Long Yunjan. Upon hearing Yiqing Luo's words, Long Yunjan's expression instantly froze. He knows the past me? If my intuition isn't wrong, you can put it that way. Yiqing Luo nodded. After we return to the academy, we can start to investigate. Long Yunjan lowered his eyes. His thick long lashes covered the emotions in his eyes. From Yiqing Luo's angle, she looked at his half-emotionless side profile. Inexplicably, a surge of melancholy arose from the bottom of her heart. A life without any memories was very scary. Towards the past, only a piece of blank space was very scary. Chapter 1337. Returning to the Shi family's residence, Long Yunjan's emotions were complicated as he went straight back to his room. Yiqing Luo didn't stop him. At this moment, Long Yunjan definitely wanted to be alone for a while. To be alone, to recall that blank memory. Looking at Long Yunjan's departing figure, Yiqing Luo suddenly thought of something as she summoned Chi-Chi from the pet space. Chi-Chi was a sacred beast white tiger, and it was very clear about some matters regarding the human and dragon race. If Chi-Chi and Long Yunjan had a good chat, to Long Yunjan, it should make him feel better. Chi-Chi gave a howl, as it wagged its tail, and its petite body chased after Long Yunjan. Just as Chi-Chi disappeared, a huge black figure descended from the sky and landed in front of her with a single leap. Shiju, welcome back. Yiqing Luo patted its head. Shiju's ears twitched as its huge eyes looked towards the direction where Chi-Chi disappeared. It turned its head to look at Yiqing Luo as it gave a puzzled tone. Roar? As though it was asking what Chi-Chi was doing there. It will be back to accompany you in a while. Yiqing Luo's gaze turned gentle as she laughed lightly. Have you completed the things that I instructed you to do? Shiju's huge head nodded fiercely as it howled a few times with a roar 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 sound. Witness Shangguan Luli being torn apart by the magical beasts? When did she die? Yiqing Luo's lips curled up in satisfaction as her tone was calm. Totally unlike a discussion about a person's death. Roar! Shiju responded as its huge head swayed as it rubbed against Yiqing Luo's palm. Yiqing Luo nodded. She only died when the head was bitten? Indeed a scourge, its vitality is so tenacious. Before Shangguan Luli died, the pain she suffered was not even comparable to her brother's pain. Just letting her maintain her consciousness and enjoy the pain of being bitten by the magical beasts was considered letting her off easy. Of course, she wouldn't let Shangguan Liuli die so easily. Magic Beast Forest was filled with dense yin qi. The air was filled with a bone-chilling yin qi. And in the Magic Beast Forest, the souls of the deceased who were dismembered by the magical beasts would similarly be devoured by the magical beasts. Which meant, Shangguan Luli had no afterlife. She was gone forever. Go take a rest. By the time you wake up, Chi-Chi will be back. Yiqing Luo rubbed Shiju's head as she spoke in a gentle voice. Shiju howled in a low voice. Its body suddenly became the size of a palm. It leapt onto Yiqing Luo's shoulder and stuck out its tongue to lick Yiqing Luo's face before withdrawing back into the pet space. Yiqing Luo's fingertips brushed past the wetness on her cheeks. He couldn't help but reveal a gentle smile on his face. Magical Beast Forest, that was where Shiju's mother was. Yiqing Luo had her own selfish motives for letting Shiju go over. She wanted Shiju to take a look at its mother. She thought that since Shiju did not return from the magical beast forest for a night, it must have gone to see its mother. But Shiju did not. Touching Shiju's fur, he could clearly feel the moisture on its body. It was the touch of being wet with dew. Shiju's intimacy towards her seemed to be because it wanted to feel a trace of warmth from her. Shijuet. Last night, after watching Shangguan Liuli being devoured, he had indeed gone to the 5th level. But it didn't meet its mother. It only stood at the 5th level, looking at the place where it grew up, looking at its mother from afar. This child. Chapter 1338. Suddenly, Yiqing Luo seemed to understand something. This was the reason why Shiju's mother could not bear to part with Shiju, but still insisted that she take Shiju away. Because of Shiju, they needed to follow in the footsteps of humans and grow slowly. Right now, Shiju was slowly becoming stronger, slowly becoming a truly mature mirage beast. She believed, one day, she would definitely be able to bring Shiju back to the 5th level of the magical beast forest in a flashy manner. He brought Shiju to see Shiju's mother in the most dazzling way. After adjusting her emotions, Yiqing Luo looked towards the direction of Yin Xiaoyi's courtyard. Before she left, Yin Xiaoyi's expression and that sentence made Yiqing Luo extremely worried. Although he had Kitty Li look after Yin Xiaoyi, Kitty Li herself was still a child. She might not be able to take good care of Yin Xiaoyi. As he was thinking, he had already arrived at the door of Yin Xiaoyi's room. The door was tightly shut, and there was no sound at all. Yiqing Luo frowned. If Kitty Li was around, the room shouldn't be so quiet. He knocked on the door, but there was no response. She pursed her lips and pushed the door open. As expected, it was just as he had imagined. The room was empty. The bed that Yin Xiaoyi had lain on was neat and tidy, and a new set of bedding had been changed. Blue bedding. This was Yin Xiaoyi's favorite color. The chilly air in the air told her that no one had entered this room for at least 2 hours. Yin Xiaoyi's injuries were serious, and she had to stay in bed to recuperate. Why would he leave this room? Wasn't Kitty Li taking care of Yin Xiaoyi? Why was Kitty Li nowhere to be seen? Looking at the tidy new bedding on the bed, Yin Xiaoyi shouldn't have gotten into any trouble. He should still be in this residence. Yiqing Luo left the courtyard and saw a maidservant carrying a medicinal soup, walking forward carefully. She stopped the maid and asked where Yin Xiaoyi went. The maidservant bowed politely and said, "Eldest young master is sunbathing with the future eldest young mistress in the garden. This servant is preparing to deliver medicine to the future eldest young mistress." Garden? Sunbathing? Shi Shanglan brought them over? Could it be that he didn't know that a patient who was seriously injured due to profound energy could not be easily moved? Seeing Yiqing Luo's expression sunk, the maid hurriedly explained, "7th Miss Yi, please don't worry. Eldest young master specially asked Sir Ghost Doctor before he brought future eldest young madam to the garden. Moreover, Master Qiao and Miss Li Mao are both in the garden, so future eldest young madam will be fine." Hearing Ghost Doctor's name, Yiqing Luo heaved a sigh of relief. But when she heard the second half of the sentence, Yiqing Luo suddenly felt a gust of wind messed up. Qiao Jin was also here? What the hell was going on? Yiqing Luo couldn't be bothered to say anything as she dashed towards the direction of the garden. Just as he reached the entrance of the garden, he heard Kitty Li's joyful laughter coming from within. From afar, he could see all kinds of colorful flowers. The flowers were bright and beautiful, and they were incomparably beautiful. A black figure was fluttering among the flowers, chasing after the butterflies. Not far away, there were 3 people sitting in a pavilion. Just by looking at the surface, there was a warm atmosphere. But Yiqing Luo, who knew the inside story, obviously saw the shapeless sword shadows in the air. Yin Xiaoyi sat on a wheelchair, which looked like a wheelchair. Shi Shanglan leaned close to her, occasionally inquiring about her well-being, passing over some fruits which had already been peeled. Yin Xiaoyi looked at the flowers, at Kitty Li who was fluttering about, as she laughed softly from time to time. Occasionally, she would turn her head sideways and eat the fruits which Shi Shanglan passed to her lips. Whereas on the side of the stone table, Qiao Jin sat there expressionlessly. Chapter 1339. The correct way to show off their affection in front of their love rivals should not be. Qiao Jin bristled with anger. He realized that he couldn't stand Yin Xiaoyi being with another man, so he forcefully snatched her back and started a series of love and hate. However, the reality was, Yiqing Luo wanted to ridicule in her heart. Jinzi, aren't you a little too calm? Isn't there something wrong with this style? Fengling had only held on to Dmo Xian's arm, and she already had the urge to tear Fengling apart. Chu Wuxin had only checked if she was in disguise and touched her face when Dmo Xian got jealous and punished her harshly. When he saw the loving scene of Yan Xiaoyi and Shi Shanglan, Xiao Jin was actually sitting at the side and watching. Xiao Jin's heart was so strong. In any case, if it were her, she would definitely not be able to remain so calm. Kitty. Yiqing Luo called Kitty Li's name as she walked into the flowers. With a plop, a small figure fell beside her legs. The petals splashed up, flying with the wind. Kitty Li raised her head. Due to her fall, the black hat on her head had fallen to the ground, revealing 2 black cat ears. When he saw Yiqing Luo, his ears twitched and he beamed with joy. Sister, you're back. Yiqing Luo picked up her hat and helped her put it on as she asked in a low voice. Didn't I ask you to take care of Xiaoyi? Why did you bring her here? Kitty Li stuck onto Yiqing Luo as she hugged her arm with both hands. Young master, she saw that Sister Xiaoyi wanted to come out to bask in the sun, so he asked Sister Xiaoyi to come out to bask in the sun with him. Brother Jinzi also agreed, so Kitty Li felt that there shouldn't be any problem. Jinzi also agreed? In other words, did Jinzi really intend to give up and matchmake Yan Xiaoyi and Shi Shanglan? Fine. Very good, very powerful. She didn't need to rely on the wall to admire Xiao Jin. I'll go take a look. Yiqing Luo rubbed Kitty Li's head. The furry texture was as soft as a kitten's. Kitty Li nodded her head vigorously as she released Yiqing Luo's arm. Then it jumped back into the flowers. Even in human form, Kitty Li still retained the characteristics of a half-beast. Cats were especially interested in moving things, and Kitty Li was no exception. When Yiqing Luo walked to the pavilion, Shi Shanglan was feeding Yan Xiaoyi a piece of sparkling sweet pear. Yan Xiaoyi lifted her eyelids as she forced out a smile. Qing Luo, how's the matter of applying for leave? The dean agreed. Yiqing Luo sat by Xiao Jin's side and glanced sideways at Xiao Jin before looking at Shi Shanglan. Why is young master Shi so free? Shi Shanglan looked at Yan Xiaoyi warmly. His eyes were filled with tenderness as he replied. Xiaoyi is so badly injured. As her fiancé, if I am not by her side, I am not fit to be a man. Also, I want to be by her side. Yiqing Luo was at a loss for words as she gave a dry laugh. He kept sizing up Xiao Jin from the corner of his eyes. He realized that this fellow was indeed mentally strong. Up until now, his expression had not changed at all. It was as if he did not care about Shi Shanglan's words at all. If she didn't know that Xiao Jin truly liked Yan Xiaoyi, Yiqing Luo probably thought that. Xiao Jin really didn't have any thoughts towards Yan Xiaoyi. Lan, when are we getting married? Yan Xiaoyi's calm voice was heard. Yiqing Luo was so shocked that she almost spilled the teacup in her hands. She suddenly put down the teacup as she stared at Yan Xiaoyi. What did you say earlier? Chapter 1340. Marriage. Yan Xiaoyi was planning to marry Shi Shanglan? Was there a mistake? Yiqing Luo finally understood what Yan Xiaoyi meant when she said those words in the morning. Yan Xiaoyi wanted to marry Shi Shanglan as Xiao Jin wished? Take revenge on Xiao Jin with your life's happiness? Yiqing Luo didn't know what she should say to dissuade Yan Xiaoyi. She knew very well in her heart the decision that Yan Xiaoyi had made, unless Xiao Jin personally spoke, otherwise. Yan Xiaoyi would really disregard everything and marry Shi Shanglan. If she really got married, Yan Xiaoyi would definitely regret it in the future. Why was Yan Xiaoyi so rash? Yiqing Luo sighed helplessly. When he thought of the culprit sitting beside him, he glared at him furiously. He lifted his leg and kicked Xiao Jin's calf. Xiao Jin's gaze still remained in front of him, as if he was looking at the flowers that filled the sky, and also as if he was thinking deeply about something. He totally did not notice Yiqing Luo's action of kicking him. At this critical juncture, how could Xiao Jin be in a daze? Yiqing Luo couldn't control her anger, as she lifted her leg and kicked his calf hard. This kick finally made Xiao Jin come back to his senses. But he didn't act like his usual self. jumping up and pointing at Yi Qing Luo as he scolded her. His gaze was calm as he took a faint glance at Yi Qing Luo, and immediately shifted his gaze away. Then, he looked towards Yan Xiaoyi, his voice and tone no different than usual. The 20th of this month is an auspicious day. Coincidentally, it is also the time when the brothers' injuries are healed. Why not choose to get married then? As soon as these words came out, the entire pavilion fell into a deathly silence. The faint smile on Yan Xiaoyi's face froze. She stared blankly at Xiao Jin, trying to find a trace of emotion on his face. However, she saw nothing but sincerity. Xiao Jin really, sincerely chose an auspicious day for them. The 20th of this month. Half a month later. Did he really want her to get married as soon as possible so that he could chase her away? He hated her that much? Yi Qing Luo was completely stunned. They couldn't believe that these words actually came out of Xiao Jin's mouth. She stared at Xiao Jin's expressionless side profile and felt a surge of anger in her heart. Perhaps it was because she was also a woman. She also didn't know why Xiao Jin had given up on Yan Xiaoyi. At this moment, she deeply despised Xiao Jin's cowardice and his eagerness to push Yan Xiaoyi into someone else's arms. He once thought Xiao Jin was a daring, responsible, and unyielding person. But after Xiao Jin said these words, all these thoughts completely vanished into thin air. The 20th of this month? Shi Shanglan's voice broke the eerie silence. Although time is pressing, I am very willing to marry Xiaoyi as soon as possible. He held Yan Xiaoyi's hand tightly and said sincerely, Xiaoyi, don't worry. Even if time is tight, I will definitely give you a grand wedding. Yan Xiaoyi stared blankly at Xiao Jin. A long time passed. His pale lips moved slightly, and he spat out a word. Okay. At the same time, an urgent voice covered Yan Xiaoyi's reply. No, I disagree. The few of them looked towards Yi Qing Luo, who was banging the table and standing up at the same time. Miss Yi. Shi Shanglan also stood up as his face was filled with uneasiness. I swear, I will treat Xiaoyi well. If Miss Yi has any dissatisfaction towards me, I can correct it. Chapter 1341. When their gazes fell onto her, Yi Qing Luo suddenly regained her senses. What I mean is. Yi Qing Luo's pink lips pursed tightly as she took a look at the expressionless Xiao Jin and clenched her fists tightly. Xiaoyi is still young and the world group needs a strong assistant like Xiaoyi. If she gets married now, wouldn't she have to leave the academy? This doesn't affect. I don't mind Xiaoyi. Shi Shanglan was stunned as he immediately replied. No way. Yi Qing Luo interrupted his words. I mind. As the world group's vice group leader, I mind very much. Young master, she already said he doesn't mind. What do you mind about? Xiao Jin frowned. Yi Qing Luo shut her eyes as she calmed her breathing. After getting married, Xiaoyi will no longer be alone. Even if young master, she doesn't mind Xiaoyi continuing to study in the academy and doesn't mind Xiaoyi joining the world group. But as his wife, no matter what, she has to put her family first and the team second. Her persuasion towards Yan Xiaoyi wasn't just because of Xiao Jin. More accurately speaking, when Xiao Jin was anxious for Yan Xiaoyi and Shi Shanglan to get married, Yi Qing Luo was already disappointed with Xiao Jin. From what she thought, no matter how big the reason was, he shouldn't be so anxious to push his beloved woman into another man's arms. Let's not talk about what kind of feelings Yan Xiaoyi had toward Shi Shanglan. Just Xiao Jin's, if I don't want it, throw it to someone else attitude made Yi Qing Luo despise him. Yi Qing Luo's heart ached for Yan Xiaoyi. She loved such a person, so she couldn't bear to let Yan Xiaoyi lose her entire lifetime of happiness because of Xiao Jin's words. Most importantly, toward Shi Shanglan, she had never trusted him right from the start. He was absolutely not Xiaoyi's husband. Taking a deep breath, Yi Qing Luo's gaze was calm as she stared at Yan Xiaoyi. I hope that in this current period of time, you will think of the bigger picture and your brothers and not be in a hurry to get married. Only Yan Xiaoyi alone understood the deep meaning behind these words. Yi Qing Luo was advising her that in her life, there wasn't only Xiao Jin alone. For Xiao Jin, was it worth it to sacrifice a lifetime of happiness and give up her brothers who had risked their lives for her? Yan Xiaoyi's heart, which was originally pierced by Qiao Jin's words, started to throb again. His heart seemed to have come alive. I was too impatient. Shi Shanglan seemed to be infected by Yi Qingluo's words as he lowered his head in embarrassment. What young Miss Yi said is right. Xiaoyi is not a canary in a cage. She belongs to a wider forest. His smile was sincere, and his eyes were filled with sincerity as he held Yan Xiaoyi's hand and said softly, Xiaoyi, it's all right. Go and carve out a path that belongs to you. I will wait here for you. When you are tired, we will return to our home. Such a display of true feelings, tender and sweet. No woman would be able to escape such gentleness, especially when there was a cold and aloof man beside him as a contrast. It showed how well Shi Shanglan treated Yan Xiaoyi. At this moment, Yan Xiaoyi couldn't help but sink into this gentleness. Shi Shanglan's words were truly moving and moving. In Yan Xiaoyi's mind, a sentence appeared. If the person she liked was Shi Shanglan, how good would that be? Yes, she actually began to regret falling in love with Qiao Jin. No woman would be able to maintain her composure when facing the man she loved who kept pushing her towards other men. Especially a proud lady like Yan Xiaoyi. Her line of sight finally didn't look at Qiao Jin. She only nodded her head lightly. Chapter 1342. Lan, I'm sorry. I didn't consider thoroughly. Yan Xiaoyi apologized softly. She looked at this man, at this tender gaze, as though he was holding her in his palms and cherishing her. She couldn't deny that her heart was moved. No one could escape from this gentleness. Shi Shanglan hurriedly shook his head. No. No need to apologize to me. I was too anxious and neglected your feelings. The two of them apologized to each other. When their gazes met, the two of them smiled at each other. Even Yi Qingluo, who was sitting by the side, could obviously feel that the atmosphere between Yan Xiaoyi and Shi Shanglan had become exceptionally harmonious. Yi Qingluo didn't know if she should say good or bad about this change. It might be better to forget about Qiao Jin and place her thoughts on another man. But that other man shouldn't be Shi Shanglan. No matter what, Yi Qingluo felt that this Shi Shanglan was extremely strange. This was a kind of intuition. She squinted her eyes as she stared at Shi Shanglan without blinking. She didn't miss any expression on Shi Shanglan's face. But still, she wasn't able to see any abnormal expression on Shi Shanglan's face. Just like his love for Yan Xiaoyi was from the bottom of his heart. Everything he had now was all for Yan Xiaoyi. No wonder Yan Xiaoyi would sink into it. Yi Qingluo sneaked a glance at the man next to her. He apparently felt the warm atmosphere between Yan Xiaoyi and Shi Shanglan. That pair of deep black eyes contracted slightly. His body suddenly tensed up. A biting cold murderous intent flashed past his eyes. But this emotional change only lasted for a moment. But in a blink of an eye, Qiao Jin's expression had already reverted back to its original expressionless look. It was so fast that Yi Qingluo suspected if she was hallucinating. Qiao Jin still loved Yan Xiaoyi. He still had unforgettable love and longing for Yan Xiaoyi. However, they were clearly in such a situation of love. Qiao Jin still sent Yan Xiaoyi into Shi Shanglan's arms for no reason. All right, no need to apologize. After Xiaoyi becomes an old lady, as the vice group leader, I will definitely let her get married. Yi Qingluo intentionally didn't see Qiao Jin's expression earlier, but intentionally teased him. Indeed, it was as Yi Qingluo had expected. The first to rebuke was Qiao Jin. Qingluo, you can't delay Xiaoyi like this. Xiaoyi isn't going to marry you and young master. She isn't even anxious about it. So what are you anxious about? Yi Qingluo rolled her eyes. This. Qiao Jin racked his brains to find an excuse. Xiaoyi is already 17 this year. If she gets married a few years later, it will attract gossip. Yi Qingluo's brows rose. Young master, she has already said that he doesn't mind. When Shi Shanglan heard his own name, he nodded warmly and said, Yes, I don't mind. As long as Xiaoyi is willing to marry me, even if I have to wait another 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, I am willing. Yi Qingluo glanced at Shi Shanglan. He would never let go of any opportunity to flirt with girls. His sweet words and honeyed words really made the hearts of young girls in the boudoir palpitate incessantly because of his words. Look, Yin Xiaoyi's face was already slightly red. This kind of shyness and excitement was not because she liked him. Instead, it was a kind of impulse that was stirred by the opposite sex. Chapter 1343. Yiqing Luo coughed lightly as she reminded Yin Xiaoyi. Since young master she doesn't have any objections, then let's not talk about marriage for now. The most important thing for us now is to heal. You don't mind? Xiao Jin abruptly stood up as his face turned steely green as he stared icily at Xishang Lan. Have you ever thought that Xiaoyi has the title of your fiancé, but you still haven't taken her home? In the eyes of the outside world, what kind of rumors would it be? And you? Xiao Jin's arrow was pointed directly at Yiqing Luo. Xiaoyi is not only your group member, she's also your friend. How can you give her lifetime's happiness to the world group? Xiao Jin's unreasonable outburst made the few of them instantly turn silent. Even Kitty Lee, who was originally pouncing on butterflies, also turned her gaze over. Seeing the three of them staring at Xiao Jin, no one opened their mouths to speak. Kitty Lee skipped and agilely flipped over the bamboo pole, as she directly jumped next to Yiqing Luo. Following that, she imitated Yiqing Luo's expression as she stared at Xiao Jin. Being messed up by Kitty Lee, the few of them shifted their gazes away. Xiao Jin clenched his fists tightly as he spoke in a deep voice. Qing Luo, your considerations are not thorough. Young Master Shi and Xiaoyi's marriage is something that will happen sooner or later. Since young Master Shi is willing to let Xiaoyi live the life she wants after marriage, then this month's 20th. Pa! A clear sound of a slap stopped Xiao Jin's long-winded words. Yen Xiaoyi raised her hand up high as her petite body trembled slightly as she stared fiercely at this ordinary-looking man, but that pair of eyes was so bright and mesmerizing. A fiery numbing pain came from her palm. Her slender fingers tightened one by one as it slowly clenched into a fist. She raised her head up high as her eyes reddened as she stared coldly at Xiao Jin. The smile on her lips was extremely chilly. Xiao Jin's cheek was already red and swollen. Even the corners of his lips were oozing with a sliver of blood. It was enough to show how ruthless Yin Xiaoyi's slap was. However, Xiao Jin seemed as though he didn't notice the intense pain from that slap, as he stared at Yin Xiaoyi in a daze. Xiao Jin, when I get married, and when I get married is my own business. It has nothing to do with you. Yin Xiaoyi said word by word in an ice-cold voice. There was a strong sense of anger in her tone. Xiao Jin's thin lips trembled. He reached out his hand, wanting to hold Yin Xiaoyi's wrist and explain. But before he could stretch his hand out, a voice suddenly rang out. Yin Xiaoyi was already extremely annoyed and shook him off. Enough, really enough. There was another crisp sound of skin colliding. The back of Xiao Jin's hand turned red from the slap. Yin Xiaoyi clenched her fiery palms and stubbornly raised her head high. Her gaze was cold, devoid of any warmth or emotion. Xiao Jin, you don't have to like me, but please don't trample on my feelings for you. The pavilion instantly fell into a deathly silence. Yiqing Luo's astonished gaze moved back and forth between Xiao Jin and Yin Xiaoyi. Could it be, last night, what happened between them was not as simple as what Yin Xiaoyi said? Yin Xiaoyi confessed that she liked Xiao Jin? Looking at Xiao Jin's unsurprised expression, Yiqing Luo understood. Yin Xiaoyi had indeed expressed her feelings to Xiao Jin last night. After the confession, she was wished happiness by her beloved man with another man. No wonder Yin Xiaoyi acted so strangely today. If it was her, she would probably have gone crazy. What was Xiao Jin trying to do? Chapter 1344. Xiao Jin, the one who has the least right to criticize my feelings is you. After Yin Xiaoyi finished her sentence, she patted her wooden wheelchair. Xishang Lan, who was in a daze, immediately regained his senses and stood up. Xishang Lan smiled warmly at them. Then he pushed the wooden chair and left the pavilion. Cat. Yiqing Luo looked at Yin Xiaoyi's departing back, as she called out softly. Kitty Lee's little head immediately moved to his side. Follow them and take a look. Don't let Xiao Yi and Shi Shanglan be alone. Yiqing Luo rubbed her furry little head as she instructed. This time, no matter who it is, don't let Xiao Yi leave her room. Do you understand? Kitty Li blinked her cat-like eyes. Sister, you like that Shi Shanglan too? Yiqing Luo raised her brows, not understanding the meaning of her words. Kitty doesn't like him either. There was a scent on his body that made it hard for Kitty to get close to him. If it wasn't for big sister Xiao Yi insisting on coming to the garden, Kitty wouldn't even want to come. Kitty Li nodded vigorously. Then she said pitifully, I wanted to tell you the first time I saw him. He had a disgusting smell on him. But he's Xiao Yi's fiancé and he saved everyone. So I didn't dare to tell you. It's right not to say it. Yiqing Luo pinched Kitty Li's little face. Our Kitty Li has grown up and knows how to consider problems. This is very good. Kitty Li's eyes lit up. That pair of bright and resplendent eyes sparkled brightly. I'm so happy to be praised by big sister. All right, let's go and accompany Xiao Yi first. They have already gone far away. Yiqing Luo's eyes were filled with smiles as she patted Kitty Li's shoulder and pointed to the front, towards the direction where the two figures had disappeared. Ah! Kitty Li cried out, her small body moving agilely. In the blink of an eye, he was already dozens of meters away among the flowers. In the blink of an eye, the cat-like figure was as fast as lightning. He disappeared from Yiqing Luo's vision. She retracted her gaze and stared at Xiao Jin. Have you calmed down now? Xiao Jin's face was extremely red and swollen. It made his already not-so-handsome face look even more comical. But now, Yiqing Luo couldn't smile at all. Xiao Jin sat back down heavily on the stone block and turned his face away. You want to seek justice for Xiao Yi? I just want to ask you a few questions. Yiqing Luo sat opposite him. She confessed to you and it's fine if you reject her. But why did you still matchmake her with Shi Shanglan? In this relationship with Yin Xiao Yi, Xiao Jin had always been weak and timid. Yiqing Luo thought that Xiao Jin was timid and weak because he cared about Yin Xiao Yi. Yin Xiao Yi was nervous, so he couldn't bear to lose the chance to accompany Yin Xiao Yi. But now, Yin Xiao Yi had clearly expressed her feelings. Yin Xiao Yi had already taken a step forward. Logically speaking, Xiao Jin should not have any worries. However, the result was unexpected. I can't be with her. Xiao Jin's voice was tense as he enunciated each word. Her marriage to young master, she is the happiest thing for her. Happiness? You're not Xiao Yi. So on what basis do you conclude that it's happiness for her to be with Shi Shanglan? Yiqing Luo gave a cold sneer. Xiao Jin suddenly raised his head as he tried to explain with a flustered expression. But his thin lips trembled and after stuttering for some time, he wasn't able to spit out any explanation. Chapter 1345. Xiao Jin was speechless. Yiqing Luo continued to laugh coldly. Xiao Jin, I don't know what difficulties you have. And I don't want to know why you are able to give up Xiao Yi so calmly. But there's one point, please get it clear, get it clear. Xiao Yi only likes you. She doesn't belong to you. You don't have the right to stop her from liking you. And you don't have the right to force her to be with someone else. Xiao Jin lowered his head in silence. After a long while, a voice filled with pain and helplessness lightly rang out. You're right. I was too selfish. He chuckled softly. It was the kind of bitter smile that made one's heart ache. I want to give up on Xiao Yi. My heart breaks just thinking about it. So, I want to see her marry Shi Shanglan with my own eyes. As long as she gets married, I think I will definitely be able to give up. Yiqing Luo pursed her lips. Then, do you still feel that you can give up now? Silence replaced everything else. Yiqing Luo didn't continue asking. She only stared quietly at Xiao Jin, at the droplets of water on his thigh. His heart inexplicably softened a little. As resolute as Xiao Jin. But at this moment, the man who was suffering from the pain shed his tears. He still loved Yin Xiao Yi. He loved Yin Xiao Yi very, very deeply. Loved to the point that even a man's tears fell. Why did he still reject Yin Xiao Yi? They loved each other, but the pain of love. Yiqing Luo was unable to understand what this kind of love was. Perhaps I should be alone for a while. After a long time, the man with his head lowered choked with sobs. His muscles tensed and his fists clenched. Suppressing his intense emotions, he took a deep breath and said, "Perhaps it's only when I'm alone that I can think about how I should choose." Heh. An ambiguous sneer interrupted Qiao Jin's words. Qiao Jin raised his eyes and his bloodshot eyes looked towards Yiqing Luo. But he saw Yiqing Luo's lips curling into a sneer of disdain as her long and narrow eyes overflowed with a cold glint. "After you've thought it through, I think you might not be able to see Xiao Yi forever." "What? Didn't you hear what Kitty Cat said?" Yiqing Luo sneered. "Qiao Jin. She just said, cats are beastmen. They have the blood and habits of ordinary cat beasts. Animals are the most intuitive to sense human emotions." Yiqing Luo half supported her head and looked at him with a smile that didn't look like a smile. Qiao Jin's eyes suddenly widened. "You mean, Shi Shanglan and Xiao Yi are basically—" "Not necessarily." Yiqing Luo shook her finger as her brows rose as she looked at Qiao Jin's worried look. Shi Shanglan should like Xiao Yi, but, as compared to love, Shi Shanglan should have a more important motive. No, impossible. How could he possibly make use of Xiao Yi? The expression on Qiao Jin's face changed unpredictably as the pain in his eyes grew unceasingly. Yiqing Luo sneered. "What's impossible? If Shi Shanglan really treated Xiao Yi as the most important person in his heart like what he said, how could he still smile at you politely and warmly when Xiao Yi said that she liked you? At least Dmo Xian would absolutely not. If it was Dmo Xian, and he heard other men expressing a tiny bit of interest towards her, Dmo Xian would absolutely announce in an overbearing manner that she, Yiqing Luo, was his Dmo Xian's woman. When you really like someone, you would want to possess everything of the other party. Absolutely could not tolerate a single grain of sand. Like Shi Shanglan, when he heard the woman whom he deeply loved said that she liked another man, he could still politely bid farewell to that man. Chapter 1346. Qiao Jin fell into silence again. He understood this feeling the most. When he saw Yan Xiaoyi calling Shi Shanglan intimately, he was so jealous that he was about to go crazy. Seeing Yan Xiaoyi eat the fruit that Shi Shanglan brought to her lips and smile gently at Shi Shanglan, he was so jealous that he was about to go crazy. Looking at Yan Xiaoyi and Shi Shanglan's similar smiles, that warm atmosphere made him want to rush forward and hug Yan Xiaoyi fiercely, but he couldn't. He was the one who had pushed Yan Xiaoyi to Shi Shanglan. He was the one who had personally caused this outcome. He had no right to be jealous, no right to be crazy, just like what Yiqing Luo said. He also did not have the qualifications to decide Yan Xiaoyi's life. Qiao Jin did not feel such intense jealousy from Shi Shanglan. Thinking back to what Kitty Li had just said, seeing Qiao Jin's expression turning increasingly steely green, Yiqing Luo shot him a faint glance. "Finally understand, what you've pushed Xiao Yi into is the bottomless abyss, and not the so-called happiness." What? Qiao Jin's throat was dry, and even breathing seemed so difficult and painful. "I'm still investigating," Yiqing Luo replied calmly. "Tonight we should be able to get the information from the Imperial Palace's investigation. But for now, I hope that you can control your own emotions and not alert the enemy." Qiao Jin's fists were tightly clenched as his well-built body trembled incessantly. She really thought that Shi Shanglan would be Yan Xiaoyi's husband. However, he had neglected the most important matter. "Now you're alone, calm down, I'd like to see how quiet you can be." Yiqing Luo supported herself with one hand on the stone table as she stood up. The corners of her lips curled up as she sneered. Women could empathize with this kind of pain the most. Her heart ached for Yan Xiaoyi. How much did she blame Qiao Jin? Yiqing Luo turned around and left the pavilion without looking back. At night, Dmo Xian brought the results of his investigation on Shi Shanglan. Qiao Jin also quietly came over. Yiqing Luo couldn't be bothered with him as she directly opened the parchment in her hands. All of Shi Shanglan's information were recorded above. Yiqing Luo's gaze swiftly swept past those messages. The information was very comprehensive. Even the matter of Shi Shanglan being kidnapped with Yan Xiaoyi when he was young was recorded in great detail. Only thing was, after Yiqing Luo spent 1 hour to finish reading all the information, she didn't discover anything unusual about Shi Shanglan's identity or his recent whereabouts. Shi Shanglan was indeed a gentle and refined young master. No matter who it was, he was always polite. He admired the second daughter of the Yen family wholeheartedly, and had spent a lot of effort to find out the whereabouts of the second daughter, and to find out everything about the second daughter. If there was one thing that Shi Shanglan, the gentle young master, did, that was to sneak into second young mistress newly purchased residence, and change the style of second young mistress residence to his own residence. This second miss was undoubtedly Yen Xiaoyi. From the information, not only was there nothing suspicious about Shi Shanglan, but it also clearly indicated he, Shi Shanglan, truly loved Yen Xiaoyi. Everything that he did for Yen Xiaoyi was from the bottom of his heart, from the bottom of his heart. Yiqing Luo's brows creased, but before she could say a word, the parchment in her hands was snatched away by Qiao Jin. He stared at the words on the parchment as his breathing became hurried. Why couldn't he find any problem? How could he possibly really like Xiaoyi? A contradictory man. One moment he accused Shi Shanglan of using him. Chapter 1347. Yiqing Luo leaned lazily into Dmo Xian's arms as she glanced sideways at Qiao Jin. Shi Shanglan is sincere toward Xiaoyi. Isn't that what you wish for? Why this expression again? I'm not. Qiao Jin's arm stiffened as the paper in his hand fell onto the ground. His gaze was flustered as he didn't dare to look at Yiqing Luo's eyes. After racking his brains, he finally squeezed out an explanation. I feel that this information is too clean. So clean that it makes me suspect him even more. At least you haven't completely turned into a fool. Yiqing Luo's sleeves moved as she rolled up the paper on the ground. Her energy spread the paper flat on the table. Yiqing Luo propped her chin as she looked at Dmo Xian with a smile which didn't look like a smile. The Imperial Palace isn't safe anymore? This information was investigated by the Imperial Palace's disciples. But from the side presented in the information, Shi Shanglan was a graceful young master with a perfect image. There weren't any blemishes on him. Or perhaps, in everyone's eyes, Shi Shanglan was indeed the image presented in the information? Impossible. No one was perfect. Even if it was her, if the Imperial Palace really investigated, they would be able to find many blemishes on her or some unknown matters. Shi Shanglan's information was too clean. Just like what Qiao Jin said. Clean made people even more suspicious. It's not the Imperial Palace's problem. Dmo Xian's body leaned forward slightly as his scorching hot chest stuck onto Yiqing Luo's soft body. His chin rested on Yiqing Luo's shoulder. The image which Shi Shanglan presented to the public is exactly as the information shows. Can a person really be so perfect? Yiqing Luo's brows rose as she looked sideways at the man beside her. The distance between them was very close. Dmo Xian's head was resting on her shoulder. Yiqing Luo's eyes. Her pink lips were imprinted on the side of Dmo Xian's face. Dmo Xian's brows arched as his peach blossom eyes were overflowing with color as he smiled. Lil Luo is so anxious? The touch on her lips was warm and silky smooth. A man actually had such a good skin. It even brought along his elegant sandalwood scent. Yiqing Luo's face flushed red as she moved her lips away and retreated backwards as she rolled her eyes at him. Stop fooling around. Dmo Xian indeed stopped messing around. But Yiqing Luo could clearly hear the man's low and hoarse laughter from time to time. Laughing till Yiqing Luo's cheeks were burning hot. Your Majesty, what do you mean? Qiao Jin seemed to be unable to endure the lovey-dovey scene in front of him. He shifted his gaze away rather unnaturally, changing the topic as he asked. He wanted to just leave the room. He didn't want to disturb Dmo Xian and Yiqing Luo's sweet moment. He also didn't want to see such a sweet scene. Such a scene was like a silver needle, ruthlessly stabbing into his heart. His mind was filled with Yen Xiaoyi's exquisite face. But he couldn't leave. This matter concerned Yen Xiaoyi. No matter what, he had to find out the truth. If Shi Shanglan was really using Yen Xiaoyi and deceiving her, he would kill Shi Shanglan before Yen Xiaoyi found out. We still need to investigate. Dmo Xian replied calmly. This sovereign can ascertain that the imperial palace would not falsify this information, but how could Shi Shanglan be so clean? His voice paused as his long and narrow peach blossom eyes squinted slightly, as a biting cold arc flashed past. Behind him, there must be a force that can go against the imperial palace. Dark forces. Yiqing Luo blurted out. Chapter 1348. To tell the truth, Yiqing Luo didn't think that Shi Shanglan was related to the dark forces. Such a gentle and graceful young master, with such a good image to the outside world. Totally not in line with the dark forces style. Furthermore, Shi Shanglan pursued Yan Xiaoyi relentlessly and secretly investigated Yan Xiaoyi. Furthermore, he changed his own courtyard into the exact same style as Yan Xiaoyi's old residence. Wasn't it because they had been kidnapped when they were young? Hence Shi Shanglan started to like Yan Xiaoyi? But now, knowing that Yan Xiaoyi was a member of the world group, a student of devil class, Shi Shanglan started to have a man's ambition and goal. Yiqing Luo had always thought so. But now, hearing what Dmo Xian said, she couldn't help but felt a chill down her spine. The dark force's goal. It had always been her. They needed her profound jade heart to unlock the other seals on the vast water god relic. They needed her body to bear the burden of the profound jade heart. Although Yiqing Luo wasn't clear why the dark forces needed the god relic and her profound jade heart. But the only thing she could confirm was, to awaken the King of Darkness, the key to unlock the King of Darkness, was not only the cultivator's soul. It also required powerful strength, powerful profound energy. Shi Shanglan was a member of the dark forces. Then how did he know that a few years ago, Yan Xiaoyi would be acquainted with him in the future? And specially forged into such a gentle young master image? No matter how exquisite a person's acting is, they will eventually give themselves away. Let's not beat the grass and alert the snake first. Let's secretly investigate the actual situation. Dmo Xian brushed a lock of Yiqing Luo's hair as he said calmly, the Imperial Palace will investigate, no need to be anxious. Hearing Dmo Xian's words, Yiqing Luo's anxiousness slowly dissipated. She nodded and responded softly, Amen. As long as Dmo Xian helped, no matter how big the matter was, it could be settled. Her man, was that incredible? Yiqing Luo looked at Qiao Jin as she instructed. Jinzi, no matter what you are thinking now, maintain your original attitude. We are now living under someone else's roof, and our brother's injuries have yet to recover. The minute you act rashly, it will affect all our brothers. She understood Qiao Jin's character. After knowing that Shi Shanglan had an ulterior motive for getting close to Yan Xiaoyi, Qiao Jin wouldn't be able to restrain himself. After knowing that Shi Shanglan was related to the dark forces, Qiao Jin even wanted to kill Shi Shanglan. He could have such thoughts, but definitely not now, since Shi Shanglan approached them with a purpose. Why didn't they directly use Shi Shanglan's wealth and power to heal their brother's injuries? Shi Shanglan was in charge of herbs and manpower. Since Shi Shanglan Prefecture was so shrewd, it meant that they weren't stupid. Knowing that she, the ghost doctor, and the saint thief were there, Shi Shanglan would definitely not dare to tamper with the medicinal ingredients. Qiao Jin's stiff body suddenly tensed up. A pair of deep dark eyes fixed on Yiqing Luo. After a while he pursed his thin lips and spat out a word unwillingly. N. Then he turned around and left the room. Seeing Qiao Jin's reaction, Yiqing Luo knew that this fellow indeed wanted to take action against Shi Shanglan directly. When it came to Yan Xiaoyi's matters, Qiao Jin's brain didn't know how to work. Since he liked her so much, why did he use such a method to push her away? Yiqing Luo looked at the tightly shut door and sighed silently. Chapter 1349. Dmo Xian's large palm encircled her waist, as his rosy lips slowly moved closer to hers. The kiss landed, but Yiqing Luo turned her head away, avoiding it. Yiqing Luo felt the hand on her waist, slightly exerting some force. Yiqing Luo pretended not to notice, her slender brows raised frivolously, as her slender long fingers, gently caressed Dmo Xian's lips. Her charming eyes were filled with smiles as her tone was gentle. If you don't say it. This mouth of yours, don't even think of getting close to me. The man who was sticking close to her suddenly stiffened. The muscles in front of his chest became stiff. That arm on her waist also stiffened. Dmo Xian's reaction successfully pleased Yiqing Luo. Her dimples bloomed as her fingers wantonly teased his lips, his face, and finally landed on his chest, playing with his lapel. Slender fingers as white as jade. Even through his clothes, Dmo Xian could clearly feel the temperature of her fingertips. Little Luo, or feel that the fire on your body is not strong enough? Dmo Xian's voice was hoarse as he encircled her waist tightly, sticking close to his body. Yiqing Luo obviously felt. Her face turned red. As she was still in her menstrual period, her mouth refused to let him off. Then, are you willing to say it? Dmo Xian suddenly stretched out his hand as he hugged her horizontally in his arms. Following that, he went directly to the bed at the side. Wait. It couldn't be. He couldn't really be aroused by her and wanted to force himself on her? Her body was thrown onto the soft bed. Yiqing Luo subconsciously shrank backwards as she was about to turn over and get off the bed. A boiling hot body directly suppressed her desire to escape. Hey Dmo Xian. Don't be like this. Yiqing Luo fluttered her limbs, refusing to give in obediently. Don't think of using this method to divert the topic. If you don't tell me today, I will pester you tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. I will pester you to ask. I will pester you to ask. I will keep pestering you to ask. After Dmo Xian pressed her onto the bed, he turned over and landed beside her. One arm encircled her into his embrace. Yiqing Luo's struggles and roars also gradually ceased. Lying on his chest, Yiqing Luo cursed Dmo Xian's domineering CEO aura. Even her beauty couldn't make Dmo Xian open his mouth. Would he still want to kiss her in the future? Did he still want to get married? Little emotions started to grow as Yiqing Luo raised her head and stared at Dmo Xian. Before he could say anything, his lips were covered by a warm sensation. The elegant scent of sandalwood seeped into her nose. His kiss landed on her lips. He kissed her extremely gently and meticulously. Between his lips and teeth, he said in an extremely soft and hoarse voice, "Keep pestering me." Oh. Yiqing Luo had just opened her mouth, but it gave Dmo Xian the chance to take advantage of the situation. The gentle and delicate kiss turned into a lingering kiss. The days, on the surface, passed peacefully. Before he knew it, half a month had passed. All the youths were able to get out of bed and walk around, doing some simple rehabilitation exercises. There were even 10 over youngsters whose injuries had completely recovered. All these made Yiqing Luo's uneasy heart to ease up slightly. But there was another point which made Yiqing Luo apprehensive was the relationship between these youngsters and Shishanglan was getting better and better. In this half a month's time, Shishanglan had really displayed that kind of warm and polite, graceful and gentle young master image to the fullest. He was able to take good care of all the students in the devil class. Chapter 1350. This brainwashing ability made even Yiqing Luo gasp in amazement. However, there was no concrete evidence after all. Yiqing Luo was unable to directly let the youngsters in devil class maintain their relationship with Shishanglan. Otherwise, with Shishanglan's intelligence, he could easily sense that she was suspicious of him. Today, Yiqing Luo intended to bring up the matter of leaving the Shi family's residence and return to the academy. As soon as he arrived at the main hall of the residence, he could hear the sounds of laughter coming from within. Looking at her brothers and Shishanglan chatting happily in the main hall, Yiqing Luo sighed softly. "Don't you like him?" Suddenly, an extremely low voice came from behind. It was Yan Xiaoyi. She wore an aqua blue dress, and her hair was simple, which made her look even more intelligent and beautiful. Under Shishanglan's meticulous care, her injuries had already healed. Her delicate little face was no longer sickly pale. Yan Xiaoyi walked to Yiqing Luo's side and stopped in her tracks, using a voice which only the both of them could hear. I can tell that your attitude towards him is very distant. What about you? Have you decided to be with him, or miss him? Yiqing Luo pointed out. Yan Xiaoyi's expression congealed slightly, and several breaths later, her beautiful eyes met Yiqing Luo's eyes calmly. No. These two words were considered as a reply to Yiqing Luo's two questions. He didn't decide to be with Shi Shanglan. He didn't think about Qiao Jin either. Qiao Jin had disappeared ever since he had obtained Shi Shanglan's investigation information. It was as if he had vanished into thin air. No one knew where he had gone. Yiqing Luo had asked Dmo Xian before, but Dmo Xian only caressed her fine black hair as he replied calmly. If he wants to come back, he will naturally appear. Apparently, Dmo Xian knew where Qiao Jin had gone to, but he wasn't going to tell her. It was as if he did not intend to tell her Qiao Jin's identity. Yiqing Luo held Yan Xiaoyi's hand as her lips curled slightly. Let's go. The two of them walked side by side into the hall. The clamor came to an abrupt end. The youths, who had been lazing around, stood up straight in an instant. They were excited as they looked at Yiqing Luo respectfully. Yiqing Luo was stunned as she was puzzled by their sudden respect. Just as he was about to speak, a soft body pressed against his back. It rubbed its furry little head against her bosom. Big sister. Kitty Li moved her head to her shoulder and said, "It's that Shi Shanglan. He said that he wanted you to see everyone in high spirits, so he wanted everyone to show their best attitude to welcome you." Although these words sounded as if he was thinking for her, she wanted to make sure that her brothers had recovered from their injuries, to make her feel more at ease. But why did Yiqing Luo feel? Had he become an outsider? The words "welcome her" sounded particularly awkward to his ears. Every day, she and the ghost doctor would personally take everyone's pulse. No one knew better than she did, so she was naturally at ease. Moreover, with the relationship between her and her brothers, it did not seem worthwhile for them to stop laughing and joking when they saw her, right? This wasn't a training ground. Yiqing Luo's heart was inexplicably flustered, but she didn't show it on her face. Why are you all so restrained? Everyone, please sit down. Yiqing Luo smiled as she held Kitty Li in one hand and Yan Xiaoyi in the other, walking toward Shi Shanglan's direction. Shi Shanglan immediately went forward as he looked at Yan Xiaoyi warmly. My apologies, I was too engrossed in chatting with everyone and forgot to fetch you. Chapter 1351. Shi Shanglan was slightly stunned. Soon after, he very quickly revealed a smile and walked to Yan Xiaoyi's side, saying in a warm voice, I am also worried about you. Your body has only just recovered, and you still have to pay more attention. Don't leave a lingering illness in the future. The surrounding youths all revealed ambiguous and teasing expressions. This kind of expression was something that Yan Xiaoyi and Yiqing Luo were used to. Shi Shanglan would not let go of any chance to flirt with girls and show off their affection. The youths were already used to this kind of blinding love. Yan Xiaoyi nodded lightly. I know what I'm doing. Saying that, his gaze went past Shi Shanglan and looked at Yiqing Luo, who was sitting by the side. Qing Luo, don't you have something to tell everyone? Yan Xiaoyi's words immediately diverted everyone's attention. The youngsters looked at Yiqing Luo respectfully, waiting for her words. Such a phenomenon was not unheard of. On the training grounds, Yiqing Luo's demands were extremely strict, treating all the students as soldiers in training. Therefore, there were many rules. However, this was not a training ground. If it was in the past, these youngsters would have started talking at once, asking Yiqing Luo what she wanted to talk about. This feeling, it was as if she was the instructor that the students looked up to, the vice captain that they worshipped from the bottom of their hearts. That was all. Yiqing Luo's brows furrowed slightly as she squinted her eyes and looked at Shi Shanglan in displeasure. Did he brainwash them again? This man, what exactly did he say to these youths? What was he trying to do? What's the matter? Shi Shanglan noticed Yiqing Luo's gaze as he smiled warmly and asked. Yiqing Luo's lips curled into an elegant smile without any flaws. His gaze swept across the hall with deep meaning as he spoke casually. Young master, Shi's relationship with my brothers in the world group isn't bad. They are all very sincere and decisive. I like interacting with people like that. Shi Shanglan nodded sincerely. The youths scratched their heads in embarrassment. Young master, she is too kind. Young master, she is the one with a gentle temperament. He is also very gentle to us. Yes, it's all thanks to young master Shi that we could recover so quickly. It's our good fortune to know young master Shi. Voices of thanks filled the entire hall in an instant. Yiqing Luo felt suffocated. When she spoke, these people were like mutes. Although they still respected him, they still idolized him. But there was something missing. Yet, the moment Shi Shanglan spoke, it was as if the mute acupoints of this group of youths were unlocked. It was not difficult to see the respect and gratitude in the eyes of these youths toward Shi Shanglan. Yiqing Luo had to admit. She was jealous. And now, the desire in his heart was roaring and rushing. What af * King Husky? I plan to return to the academy. Yiqing Luo raised her voice, suppressing all the youngsters' voices. The voices in the surroundings stopped abruptly once more. Shi Shanglan's calm expression changed slightly. Why is Lady Yi going back to the academy? Could it be that I did not take good care of him? If there's anything inappropriate, Yi, it's just that you're too considerate. Yiqing Luo unhappily interrupted Shi Shanglan's words. No matter what Shi Shanglan's motive was, Yiqing Luo only had one feeling now. She was jealous. And she was extremely jealous. Before these youngsters met Shi Shanglan, they had obviously treated her, Long Yunjian and the others as the bright lights in their hearts. Now, this bright light had become Shi Shanglan. Chapter 1352. But the minute she said that, Yiqing Luo realized that her emotions were too extreme. The puzzled and astonished gazes from all around fell on her. Yiqing Luo coughed dryly as the smile on her lips bloomed even more brilliantly. It's because you took care of them, so all our brothers' bodies have recovered. I only applied for half a month's leave from the academy. Now that our brothers' injuries have recovered, it's time for us to return to the academy. Shi Shanglan's stiff expression then turned gentle. That's true. After all, they are students. Now I'm here to bid farewell to you. Yiqing Luo stood up and cupped her fists. Thank you, young master Shi, for taking care of me and Chief these few days. If there's a chance, I, Yiqing Luo, will definitely repay you. It's nothing, it's not worth mentioning. Shi Shanglan returned the greeting as he waved his hand. You and I are friends, there's no need to thank me. Yiqing Luo only smiled. Shi Shanglan continued. Are we going back to the academy now? Isn't it a little too rushed? It's better to stay for another night and have a good rest before returning to the academy. Devil class is this batch's champion class. These few days, everyone has been bedridden recuperating and their training has been neglected. If we don't put in more effort, we will be surpassed by others very soon. Yiqing Luo smiled as she shook her head. While everyone is improving, don't forget that the others are also working hard to improve. The youngster's expressions instantly congealed. Shi Shanglan didn't continue to dissuade her. The group of people left Shi family's residence in a grandiose manner. Yiqing Luo felt that something was amiss. Shi Shanglan let them leave so easily. Wasn't it a little too simple? Moreover, she had been observing Shi Shanglan's expression and gaze. She realized that other than Yan Xiaoyi's gaze, which was filled with reluctance, Shi Shanglan had always warmly bid farewell to the others, as there was nothing unusual. Could it be that her feeling was really wrong? This Shi Shanglan was actually an out-and-out good person? Yiqing Luo had been on tenterhooks until they reached the street, which was 100 meters away from Shi family's residence. For example, no one had appeared to stop them from leaving the residence. She released her senses as she vigilantly sensed the surrounding atmosphere. She didn't discover anything. The instant Shi Shanglan, who had watched them leave, turned around, a figure appeared. His slender body suddenly stiffened. If one took a closer look, one would notice that his body was trembling slightly. After that, his warm and refined eyes were replaced by a pair of gloomy, ruthless, and evil eyes. His gentle face revealed an evil coldness that was completely different from usual. However, in the next instant, that expression disappeared in a flash. Shi Shanglan's trembling body staggered, and he actually half knelt on the ground. A servant hurriedly held onto Shi Shanglan's arm. "Eldest young master, what happened to you?" Shi Shanglan waved his hand and forced himself to stand up. He kept his head down as he walked into the mansion. His excessively long black hair covered his eyes. The wind blew, messing up her hair. Vaguely a pair of eyes that made one's hair stand on end. One was as gentle as jade. One was sinister and cold. Heavenly Academy. When Yiqing Luo and the rest arrived at the academy, the master who was guarding at the entrance came forward to welcome them. "Student Yi, you are finally here." Chapter 1353. The master said with a smile. In this interclass competition, the devil class won first place. The students of the other classes have all made your class their goal to strive for. Recently, many students have been clamoring to see you. The headmaster excitedly talked about the recent changes in the academy. Although the headmaster was very excited, but Yiqing Luo still understood very well. Those so-called students did not really treat her as a goal to strive for. But devil class, who had always been thought to be forgotten by everyone, was like a dark horse, snatching away the glory that should have belonged to them in front of everyone. If this honor had been won by High Profound Class 2 or the Class of Gods, then it would have been fine. Yet it was a class of trash that everyone looked down on had been snatched away. Wouldn't the world be laughing at them, the Heavenly Academy students, for being so useless that they couldn't even win the trash from the waste class? He didn't want to be looked down upon. He was unwilling to admit defeat. Because of this, these students had been working hard recently to cooperate with the headmaster's lessons. Rather than saying that the devil class was the goal they were striving for. Rather, it could be said that they wanted to wash away their shame. However, no matter what those students' motives were, it had nothing to do with her. Along the way, he learned about the recent changes in the academy from the headmaster. For example, according to the upcoming interclass competition, the academy had rearranged the classes based on their performances in the upper mystical pagoda. The previous High Profound Class 2 was demoted to Intermediate Class 2, and Low Profound Class 2 was upgraded to High Profound Class 1. High Profound Class 1 was demoted to Intermediate Class 1. Because Intermediate Profound Class 2's Shangguan Liuli had colluded with the dark forces and cheated in public. In order to avoid arousing suspicion, the dean decisively disqualified the Intermediate Profound Class 2 students from the competition and ordered all the students to leave the academy. Hence, the entire class of Intermediate Profound Class 2 students were forced to leave. Because of this, the students of Low Profound Class 1 followed their performance in the competition. More than 300 students were divided into Low Profound Class 1 and Low Profound Class 2. Devil Class was directly promoted to High Profound Class 2. When Yiqing Luo heard the news of Devil Class becoming High Profound Class 2, she was momentarily stunned. Such a lame name. It was better for her to refuse the class upgrade this time. It was time for class. Along the way, there were only a few teachers passing by. Yiqing Luo obediently greeted her. When they passed by the library pavilion, the librarian stood at the entrance, and when he saw Yiqing Luo, he gave her a thumbs up. Yiqing Luo smiled at him. Although the two of them did not speak, but Yiqing Luo's heart suddenly felt warm. In this academy, there were at least a few people who truly cared about her and praised her sincerely. She was not a complete failure as a person. "Classmate Yi." Suddenly, a clear voice came from behind. A tall and slender figure walked out of the library pavilion. His green and white robe made him look even more heroic. Seeing Yiqing Luo, his smile deepened. "I haven't congratulated you for obtaining the championship of the interclass competition." Yiqing Luo's eyes narrowed slightly as her lips curled into a smile. "Thank you, class monitor." This person was precisely Intermediate Profound Class 2's class monitor, Xie Yan. He was also that Xie Yan who had once issued a challenge to her on the second floor of the library collection pavilion, requesting for Devil Class to participate in the interclass competition. However, Weren't the students from Intermediate Profound Class 2 expelled from the academy by the dean? Even Xiaoyu, that child, had not seen her again. But now Xie Yan had appeared here. Chapter 1354. This thought made Yiqing Luo's heart tightened. Ever since the Intermediate Profound Class 2 was forced to leave the academy, Yiqing Luo specially went to look for Lu Xiaoyu. But because the Intermediate Profound Class 2 was forced to leave, they couldn't enter the arena to watch the competition. Because of this, when Yiqing Luo went to look for Lu Xiaoyu after the competition, she had already left the West Square. She was still thinking of ways to get Lu Xiaoyu to join Devil Class after she returned to the academy. Xie Yan had now appeared in the academy. Lu Xiaoyu would also have a chance to come back. I'm no longer the class monitor. Just call me Xie Yan in future. Xie Yan waved his hand and smiled. I'm now still a student of the Intermediate Profound Class 2. If Student E needs anything in future, feel free to look for me in the Intermediate Profound Class 2. Yiqing Luo's eyes lit up. Indeed, Xie Yan had returned to the academy. She went forward and stared at Xie Yan with her charming eyes. The original Intermediate Profound Class 2 students, what's the chance to return to the academy? Student E still doesn't know? Xie Yan raised his brows in surprise. Suddenly he recalled that the Devil Class had not appeared in the academy for half a month. He explained, on the day of the competition, Shangguan Luli colluded with the dark forces to cheat, causing the director to fly into a rage and forced all the students to leave the Intermediate Profound Class 2. But after that, the headquarters fought for the opportunity to return to the academy for the other innocent and ignorant students. After all, there were nearly 400 students in the Intermediate Profound Class 2. Among these 400 students, there were many young masters from other continents who came for lessons, and there were also people from various forces. Because of Shangguan Liuli, so many students had suffered because of her. How could the families of these students let it go so easily? Hence, one by one, the forces found trouble with the Shangguan family. But this Shangguan family, ever since they were removed from the four great profound families, they disappeared from the eyes of the world. No forces had found the whereabouts of the Shangguan family. Since they couldn't find the Shangguan family, these forces naturally went to the academy and the headquarters. They needed the academy or the headquarters to give an explanation to these innocent students. The General Hospital also felt that this move had accidentally hurt too many good students who were positive and motivated. Hence, they held a general meeting to fight for the opportunity for those original Intermediate Profound Class 2 students to return to the academy. That was, students who wanted to return to the academy had to go through the inspection of the head elder. As long as a student came into contact with the mysterious Yin Qi, not only would they be unable to return to the academy, but they would also be locked up by the headquarters and interrogated. As for those who were clean, they could be reassigned to various classes according to their performance in the academy. When Yiqing Luo heard that, her face revealed a smile. Many thanks to the class. Student Xie for clearing my doubts. I'll return to the Devil Class with the other students first. Let's chat again when we have time in the future. Devil Class? Xie Yan squinted his eyes. After the adjustment of the academy, the Devil Class has been promoted to High Profound Class 2. The direction of your class should be changed to High Profound Class 2. Yiqing Luo seemed to have thought of something. Does Student Xie still remember the promise that we had made? Devil Class will participate in the inter-class competition. If we win, we will agree to a request from Devil Class. Xie Yan did not hesitate at all as he stated out the promise that they had made previously. Yiqing Luo nodded. Yes, now that Devil Class has obtained victory then. I should enjoy the freedom of Devil Class, right? Chapter 1355. That's right, I request to retain the Devil Class. Yiqing Luo's lips rose slightly as she gazed into Xie Yan's eyes. Devil Class is Devil Class, there's no need for any changes. We like the atmosphere of Devil Class, like everything about Devil Class. Xie Yan was slightly stunned. Following that, he nodded his head with a light smile. I understand, I will apply to the director and the elders' quarters for this matter. Thank you, student Xie. Yiqing Luo thanked him calmly. The two of them exchanged some conventional greetings, and Yiqing Luo led the majestic group of people towards the direction of Devil Class. When they reached the entrance of Devil Class's courtyard, Yiqing Luo and the rest were stunned. Every class was a large courtyard. The courtyard was split into the front courtyard, rear courtyard, as well as the resting quarters and the school hall. In the past, Devil Class's courtyard entrance was filled with chilly wind and branches. No matter how one looked at it, it was eerie. No matter how one looked at it, it was cold. For 10 days to half a month, there wasn't a single person who got close to Devil Class. Basically, they had already treated Devil Class as though it didn't exist. If it wasn't for the fact that Yiqing Luo had entered the academy and was allocated to Devil Class. Probably until now, none of the students had recalled that their academy still had the existence of Devil Class. And at this moment, the entire courtyard's entrance was so clean that there wasn't a single speck of dust. Apparently it had been meticulously cleaned. Yiqing Luo turned back and exchanged glances with those students behind her. Could it be that they had entered the wrong class? But the class at the corner of the academy was only Devil Class? Yiqing Luo took the lead and walked into Devil Class. Devil Class's outer courtyard was also clean and tidy. Verdant trees were planted all around, as well as beautiful blooming flowers. It didn't look like a class's outer courtyard, but more like a garden. Someone had entered their Devil Class. The training inside had been completed. Had they entered? Devil Class's outer courtyard was originally for those students and teachers to watch. But after the outer courtyard, after the second door, it was a completely different world. Because of this, the second door, they had set up an array, and the door had been tainted with Bei Ming Lulu's poison. Those people, could they enter the second door? Yiqing Luo squinted her eyes as she speedily pushed open the second door. Behind the second door, there were messy handkerchiefs and weapons strewn all over the floor. He finally heaved a sigh of relief. This place was a secret belonging to their Devil Class. It was Long Yunjian who used his ability to build a training ground for the students of Devil Class. She did not wish for anyone outside of the Devil Class to enter the Devil Class, this territory that belonged to them. Those people only swept the outer courtyard and the entrance of Devil Class, but did not enter the second courtyard door. The group of them returned to the Devil Class and instantly felt as though they had returned to their own home. Looking at the familiar training, the familiar place, the familiar smell, the youths all cheered and rushed into the training ground. The news of the return of the Devil Class students had spread throughout the entire academy in just a short while. As a result, after class, those students flocked towards the direction of the Devil Class. Although these students had personally witnessed Yiqing Luo's power in the interclass competition, witnessing Devil Class obtaining the final victory, but after returning to the academy, they still found it hard to calm down. He was unable to accept that his own class actually lost to the Devil Class. Look, all the students in the Devil Class had applied for half a month's leave to recuperate. It was rumored that because they had participated in the interclass competition with injuries, resulting in serious injuries after the competition. Chapter 1356. Towards Devil Class. They were unable to accept the fact that Devil Class had won, but inexplicably, a sense of reverence towards Devil Class arose. In the Nirvana realm, the stronger one's ability was, no matter if you had committed murder or arson or heinous crimes. As long as you were strong enough, the world would bow down to you. The idea of the strong being respected had long been ingrained in the hearts of the people, obtaining the champion of the interclass competition. And with her own strength, she defeated the number one beauty, Ziqianqian, who had a legendary staff. No one dared to doubt Yiqing Luo's power. Yiqing Luo called out to the students as she was tidying up the training grounds and the classroom, which she had not been back for half a month. Suddenly they heard a commotion outside the courtyard. Initially they thought the other classes had ended, so they came over to take a stroll. But the commotion outside was obviously getting more and more lively. and the number of people was increasing. Yiqing Luo and Long Yunjian exchanged glances, and roughly understood that those students outside must have heard that their devil class students had returned to the academy. They specially came over to watch, either to watch a joke or to hug their thighs. What are you waiting for? Go go go. Follow me out. Old man Guiyu scurried out from a corner, one hand holding Yiqing Luo's arm, and the other hand tugged Long Yunjian's collar as he pulled him out of the courtyard. Teacher Guiyu. Yiqing Luo staggered a few steps as she followed behind Old Man Guiyu. She noticed that Old Man Guiyu's usual loose teacher's white robe was now neatly worn on his body, and the belt was neatly fastened. His hair, which used to be messy like withered grass, was now neatly tied into the headmaster's hair. She wanted to struggle with her behavior, but stopped. Being pulled by Old Man Guiyu, the students behind him also followed suit. And so dozens of students walked to the outer court in a mighty manner. The outer courtyard was packed with people. There were at least 300 over students crowding around here. When they saw Yiqing Luo and the rest coming out, their faces revealed a surprised expression. Old Man Guiyu walked right in front and stood in front of the students as he raised his hand, indicating for everyone to quieten down. He cleared his throat and spoke in a rare steady voice. Cough, fellow students. You must be here to see the class which won first place in this year's interclass competition, Devil Class. The students feared Old Man Guiyu. As soon as Old Man Guiyu appeared, the noisy scene fell into silence. Those students' gazes continued to shoot towards Yiqing Luo and the others. All right. If you have anything to say, just say it. The Devil Class students will try their best to answer your questions. Seeing that the situation was under control, Old Man Guiyu stepped aside. When he returned to the academy, he would have to face this group of students sooner or later. As the dark horse, their devil class had obtained the final victory. To these students who were used to being arrogant, it was indeed a blow. Devil class had used their actions to prove to all the classes, teachers and elders in the Heavenly Academy. They, the devil class, were not trash. Since he wasn't trash, why didn't the academy notice anything at all? Could it be, was it after Yiqing Luo entered devil class, in a short span of 3 to 4 months, she managed to train that bunch of ridiculing trash into top experts? From Yiqing Luo, they could see numerous miracles. 20% of the students actually believed this guess. Student Yiqing Luo, how do you feel about becoming the class leader? Student Yiqing Luo, how did you improve so quickly? When you just entered the academy, you were still a yellow profound cultivator. Chapter 1357. Countless questions were thrown out one after another. The students were fearful, and at the same time unwilling. After all, these students in front of them were once dogs in their eyes. They were trash that could be bullied by anyone. However, at this moment, they were standing perfectly straight. Their youthful faces revealed expressions that were completely different from the laziness they had in the past. Their eyes were like torches, facing the hundreds of questions. They did not show any signs of panic. On the contrary, they were calm and composed, causing people to involuntarily be intimidated by the aura they emitted. Was this still the devil class that they knew? Was this still the devil class students that they saw on the stage of the interclass competition? Wait, you are not students of devil class. Suddenly, someone in the crowd shouted, interrupting the fear and respect they had for the strong. The students looked towards the direction of the voice. The crowd dispersed, revealing a slender figure. Ah, it's High Profound Class 2. Oh no, it's student Yan Zhenfei from Intermediate Profound Class 2. What did she say? They are not students of devil class? What does that mean? Student Yan Zhenfei, what do you know? Can you tell us? When countless students saw Yan Zhenfei, their gossipy hearts surged. Yan Zhenfei was originally a student of High Profound Class 2. In this interclass competition, the original High Profound Class 2 was miserably abused by devil class. The good name of High Profound Class 2 was completely reduced to a joke in this competition. Especially now, the students of High Profound Class 2 had been demoted to Intermediate Profound Class 2. Not mentioning the name of Intermediate Profound Class 2, because of Shangguan Liuli, it caused everyone to think of the dark forces when Intermediate Profound Class 2 was mentioned. Just like the students of High Profound Class 2, the elite students who were extremely talented and had a high status in the academy, but they had been demoted by 2 classes. The current High Profound Class 1 was the previous Low Profound Class 2, which meant, in the hearts of the academy and the headquarters, the original High Profound Class 2 students were not even comparable to the original Low Profound Class 2. The original High Profound Class 2, the current Intermediate Profound Class 2 students, must hate Devil Class to the core. Yan Zhenfei now stood out and pointed out the students of Devil Class. It would be a great show. Yan Zhenfei walked past the crowd and directly stood in front of the students as she raised her head and stared fiercely at Yiqing Luo. Those people behind you are not students from Devil Class. Yiqing Luo narrowed her eyes as her lips curled into a smile which didn't look like a smile. Yan Zhenfei's heart trembled at her smile, and she instinctively took a step back. But he heard Yiqing Luo's smiling voice ringing. Student Yan Zhenfei, our Devil Class isn't a place where you can make irresponsible remarks. If student Yan Zhenfei feels that the taste on the arena stage isn't enough, I don't mind letting you relive it once more. He was obviously smiling. That voice was clearly extremely sweet. However, it gave off an extremely cold intent. It was that kind of a chill that seemed to seep into one's bones. Yan Zhenfei recalled Yiqing Luo's arrogant look a few days ago at the Shi family's residence. She hated Yiqing Luo. Yan Zhenfei forcefully suppressed the fear in her heart as her lips trembled slightly. You don't think that we're all idiots? I'll only ask you one question. Are Devil Class's students from the newly risen the World Mercenary Group? Mentioning the World Group, this was the guess of many students. Chapter 1358. Yiqing Luo's brows rose as she didn't intend to hide it. Yes. The crowd went into an uproar. Indeed, Devil Class's students were the World Mercenary Group. The students present were roughly between 15 to 25 years old. This year's youngsters loved to find out about various forces' news, so that they could make plans for their future after they graduated from the academy. The Mercenary Association, they would more or less pay attention to it. The rise of the World Mercenary Group could be said to be the Mercenary Association's historical speed. The missions they took on were those bronze or even silver plate mercenary groups might not be able to complete. But unfortunately, a newly established 60-over-man group, the World Group, was able to complete those missions without any losses. Devil Class's students were the members of the World Group. That meant to say, 3 months ago, Devil Class's students already had enough ability to complete those missions? That meant to say, Devil Class's students were actually not trash? When the World Group was established, Yiqing Luo had just entered Devil Class for less than a month. 1 month. No matter how heaven-defying Yiqing Luo was, or how she created miracles, it was impossible to train a bunch of trash into dregs in such a short period of time, to the extent that they were able to take on high-grade mercenary group missions. The gazes that the students used to look at the Devil Class were filled with respect and admiration. Yan Zhenfei looked at the other students' reactions as she silently clenched her teeth. She had not expected her question to make these people revere Devil Class even more. A bunch of slow-witted fools. They deserved to be suppressed by Devil Class in the interclass competition, till they had no way to retaliate. These people, they are not Devil Class's students at all. Yan Zhenfei pointed angrily at the rows of youngsters behind Yiqing Luo. They are the Imperial Palace's disciples. They are the World Group's members, intentionally pretending to be Devil Class's students to take part in the interclass competition. His tone was firm, and his accusation was righteous. It made the students present instantly quieten down. Not Devil Class's students? Imperial Palace's disciples? Pretending to be Devil Class's students? The amount of information was too huge, their hearts almost couldn't take it. I've investigated Devil Class's information, and also found some information about Devil Class's students from the faculty council. Yin Zhenfei arrogantly raised her head as her lips curled into a cold smile. The atmosphere remained silent. The students were still immersed in Yin Zhenfei's words. Devil Class's students saw that Yiqing Luo didn't say a word, so they also didn't say a word. Yin Zhenfei only thought that Yiqing Luo had a guilty conscience and was unable to refute. Hence he became even more arrogant. The existence of the Devil Class has already lasted for as long as 5 years. And in these 5 years, the number of students who entered the Devil Class every year did not exceed 10. Ever since a year ago, the students of the Devil Class had completely faded out of everyone's sight, and no one remembers the Devil Class. Which is to say, in our academy, even if they walk out like this, we might not be able to recognize them, whether they are really Devil Class students or not. After all, we have never paid special attention to unimportant people. It's just that, coincidentally, from the faculty council, I found the portraits of every student who entered the Devil Class. Portrait? The silent students looked at each other. Yin Zhenfei had seen the portraits before. Hence she was sure that these people were not students from the Devil Class? In other words, Chapter 1359. Yes, that's right. These people and the people in the portraits look totally different. Yin Zhenfei placed her hands behind her back as she straightened her back and gave a complacent smile. These people are all fake. They were not students of the Devil Class at all. As a member of the faculty council, I have the right to seal Devil Class and hand it over to the director to deal with. When the students heard such righteous words, the worship and reverence in their eyes were replaced by humiliation and deception. These people seemed to have forgotten, in the interclass competition, Yiqing Luo's outstanding performance. Shengguan Luli cheated and was forced to leave the academy. Yiqing Luo, you actually cheated everyone's feelings and cheated in the interclass competition. If you are not expelled from the academy and fulfill the blood oath with Shengguan Luli, we will absolutely not let you off. Even if you're an Imperial Palace's disciple, cheating is cheating and you must be punished severely. That's right. We lost the competition because of people like you who like to cheat, spoiling the balance of our competition. One by one, the voices of accusation were filled with extreme anger. That scolding voice seemed as though they wanted to tear Yiqing Luo into pieces. When Yiqing Luo heard that, she only wanted to scold. A bunch of brainless scoundrels. Just a second ago, they were still fawning and worshipping her, looking at her, calling her senior Yiqing Luo, student Yiqing Luo. The next second, they started to accuse and abuse, each more ferocious than the other. Yiqing Luo was amused by these brainless scoundrels' behavior. The other youngsters in Devil Class, faced with such a huge change in attitude, were unable to adapt to it. The speed at which their faces changed was faster than flipping a book. But Yiqing Luo was already used to it. Human nature was like that. Listen to the wind is the wind. Listen to the rain is the rain. Yiqing Luo's disdainful gaze was caught by Yin Zhenfei. Her expression sunk as she clenched her teeth and gave a cold harumph. Student Yiqing Luo, don't think that just because you don't say anything, you won't be punished. Before I came, I've already invited Elder Yun Xiang. Just wait to be expelled from the academy. Saying that, she pointed towards the group of students behind Yiqing Luo. And all of you, none of you will be able to escape. Yiqing Luo maintained a smile which didn't look like a smile. Under Yiqing Luo's hint, Devil Class's students didn't say a single word. Even the furious old man Guiyu, under Yiqing Luo's gaze, forcefully suppressed his impulse. Until Yin Xiang was led by a few female students from Intermediate Profound Class 2 to the entrance of Devil Class's courtyard. Just as Yin Xiang walked over, Yin Zhenfei quickly recounted what she had found out. When Yin Xiang heard that, the peaceful expression on his face instantly darkened. A pair of malicious eyes fell onto Yiqing Luo. Student Yiqing Luo, is what student Yin Zhenfei said true? What do you think, Elder Yin Xiang? Yiqing Luo raised her brows as she asked. I don't have the time to joke with you. You are only allowed to answer yes or no. Yin Xiang growled. Yiqing Luo shrugged. Of course not. You're lying. Every single word I said is the truth. Yin Zhenfei gritted her teeth and growled. Yiqing Luo sneered. If I had used the Imperial Palace's disciples to replace Devil Class's students to take part in the competition, then Devil Class's students wouldn't have met with an ambush in the West Continent, and they wouldn't have taken part in the competition with injuries. In the end, under Ghost Dr. Master's treatment, they would only be able to stand up and walk for an entire half a month. Towards the end, Yiqing Luo's voice and imposing manner started to rise. Yin Zhenfei was shocked as she retreated a few steps. Chapter 1360. Student Yin Zhenfei is able to provide the evidence of the portraits to prove that you and the people in the portraits are totally different. Yin Xiang's face sunk. Then what evidence can you provide to prove that you are Devil Class's students? Yiqing Luo's brows rose as she gave Yin Xiang a "you idiot" expression. Then take out the portraits, isn't that the best evidence? Don't think that I don't dare to take it. Yin Zhenfei treated it as Yiqing Luo's final struggle. She casually touched her space pocket. Following that, she took out a stack of drawing paper. On the drawing paper there were many human faces. The students who were standing nearer couldn't help but gasp when they saw the extremely handsome faces on the portraits. Handsome is handsome, beautiful is beautiful. All of them were extremely pleasing to the eye. The students' gazes towards Devil Class's students had changed. Indeed, no one was perfect. Those Devil Class's students, although their innate talents were a little lacking, although their brains were a little silly, although their characters were a little soft, but they were handsome and beautiful. Their faces were good. Judging on one's looks had never been a conventional practice since ancient times. No matter when, it was an era where one looked at one's looks. After gasping in admiration at the portraits of handsome men and beautiful women, the students looked at the people standing behind Yiqing Luo. Indeed, they didn't look like them. Although these youngsters looked more handsome than the other. But as compared to the people in the portraits, there were still some differences. At this moment, Yin Zhenfei suddenly took a step forward. She rushed to Yiqing Luo's side and swiftly stretched out her hand, grabbing someone's arm and dragging her out. And this is also evidence. The person whom Yin Zhenfei dragged out was Yen Xiaoyi. This person is from my Yen family. A waste from the Yen family. A waste who can't even condense profound energy. How could she possibly pass Heavenly Academy's assessment and become a student of Heavenly Academy? Yin Zhenfei's tone was filled with disdain. What do I not know about the Yin family's matters? How could she possibly be a student of Devil Class? In the faculty council, Yin Zhenfei didn't even see Yin Xiaoyi's portrait. Although she knew clearly that Yin Xiaoyi was no longer the past Yin Xiaoyi, Yin Xiaoyi's current ability was so powerful that even her heart trembled. But at least for now, Yin Xiaoyi was not a student of Devil Class. The gazes of the students instantly converged on Yin Xiaoyi. Let go. Yin Xiaoyi frowned in disgust. She was not used to Yin Zhenfei's touch. She flung Yin Zhenfei's hand away and said calmly, I really don't want to show off my intelligence to you. You're as dumb as a pig. Talking to you is a waste of time. Seriously. He was not afraid of a godlike opponent, but he was afraid of a pig-like teammate. Yin Zhenfei's godly assistance simply made Yiqing Luo not know whether to laugh or cry. She was just worrying about how she could remove the mask on her face without being questioned by the other students. Now there was no need for the Devil Class to hide anymore. The students of the Devil Class could totally reveal their true faces. Yin Zhenfei had given him this chance. Yiqing Luo suddenly raised her hand as her slender index finger raised up. Suddenly he gently crooked his finger. Tell them the truth. Yiqing Luo's tone was calm, without a hint of nervousness or panic. Yiqing Luo's attitude made Yin Zhenfei cover her chest warily, as her face revealed an astonished expression. The truth? What truth? Chapter 1361. Elder Yin Xiang, since you're here, I'll have to trouble you to be the witness. Yiqing Luo retreated from her position. Brothers, split up and stand properly. Devil class's youngsters immediately stood in line like during training. 60 over people stood at the entrance of Devil class's courtyard, split into 3 rows. They stood in a staggered position. The students opposite could clearly see every single Devil class student's face. Yin Xiang and Yin Zhenfei exchanged glances. Both of them couldn't figure out what Yiqing Luo was planning to do. Yin Xiaoyi shot a contemptuous glance at Yin Zhenfei, following that her vision turned towards those youngsters who were standing upright. As her lips curled into a smile. According to the academy's regulations, in the academy, slandering other students for no reason, or criticizing and questioning other students for no reason, will be severely punished. She paused and her voice was extremely soft, revealing a sliver of gentleness. This punishment seems to be recording a small demerit in asterisk asterisk asterisk. When Yin Xiaoyi's gaze fell onto Yin Zhenfei once again, Yin Zhenfei went into a blank. She looked at Yin Xiaoyi in a daze. This lady. Was she really Yin Xiaoyi? Was she really that Yin Xiaoyi who suffered all sorts of humiliation in Yin family? No. Yin Xiaoyi didn't have the guts to talk to her. Yin Xiaoyi didn't even dare to take a look at her. How could she possibly use this kind of attitude to talk to her? Recalling some days ago at the Shi family's residence, when Yin Xiaoyi was bedridden, she gave her a ridiculing look. Looking at the present, Yin Xiaoyi didn't conceal her ridicule. Yin Zhenfei couldn't take it as she pointed at Yin Xiaoyi and roared. You're feeling guilty. Don't try to use small demerits to suppress me. I'm telling you, not only do I suspect that Devil class's students are all impersonated by Imperial Palace's disciples, I also suspect that you are not Yin Xiaoyi at all. Small demerit? Yin Xiaoyi seemed as though she didn't hear the latter half of her sentence. Our Devil class has a total of 61 students. Other than Qing Luo, there are 60 other students. For a student to make a small demerit, you will record 60 demerits. Saying that, Yin Xiaoyi clicked her tongue. A student, at most 5 demerits. You're still changing the topic. You're obviously feeling guilty. Yin Zhenfei was so infuriated that her entire body was trembling as she clung onto Yin Xiaoyi tightly. Yiqing Luo made use of the Imperial Palace's power to obtain victory in the interclass competition. This is cheating. Yiqing Luo is the one who should be given demerit points and forced to leave the academy. Yiqing Luo, who had been standing by the side with her arms crossed, raised her brows with a smile which didn't look like a smile. Since that's the case, let's not play too big. After all, Yin Zhenfei is the most pampered eldest Miss Yin in the Yin family, so we should at least give them some face. Hearing Yiqing Luo's words, Yin Xiaoyi stopped her aggressive actions. Then let's do it this way. Student Yin Zhenfei insists on slandering our Devil class, then Elder Yin Xiang will be the witness. If I can prove that they are indeed students of the Devil class, then student Yin Zhenfei's file will be marked with a major demerit. How about that? Yiqing Luo's tone was relaxed, as though she was just casually mentioning it. Yin Zhenfei's expression instantly changed as she stared intently at Yiqing Luo, trying to tell what she was thinking from her expression. A big mistake. A student only had 3 chances of a major demerit. Furthermore, on asterisk 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 asterisk, if there were any demerit points recorded. Chapter 1362. Don't dare to bet? Yin Xiaoyi ridiculed. Since you don't dare to, then don't stand here and solemnly accuse Devil class. Saying that, Yin Xiaoyi turned around and walked towards Devil class's courtyard. How could Yin Zhenfei let go of this chance to turn Devil class into a joke? From what she saw, Yiqing Luo and Yin Xiaoyi were echoing each other to cover up their guilty conscience. Hence, Yin Zhenfei looked at the both of them without any misgivings. All right. A big mistake is a big mistake. Anyway, both of you are definitely fake. Yiqing Luo shook her head helplessly and sympathetically. Towards this kind of clown, Yiqing Luo had no interest at all. Moreover, Yin Xiaoyi was obviously extremely interested in this sister of hers who had the same father and mother. This kind of toy was naturally left for Yin Xiaoyi to play with. Yiqing Luo's gaze looked towards those students as she nodded her head slightly. Long Yunzhan's cold and deep command was heard. Do it. Yes. 60 youngsters replied extremely loudly. Yin Xiang's expression changed drastically. What are you trying to do? As he said that, he opened up his arms, protecting those few hundred students behind him. Those few hundred students' expressions also turned fearful. Hearing the word do it, they all thought that Yiqing Luo and the others were going to use brute force to hide the truth. But in the next instant, they understood exactly what Long Yunzhan meant when he said attack. Even Yin Xiang's voice was cut off because of this. They saw those 3 rows of students moving in sync, as though they had gone through countless of rehearsals before they could reach such a tacit understanding. Everyone's actions seemed as though they were looking into a mirror. Rhythm, frequency, it was exactly the same. The youngsters uniformly touched their own faces. Bit by bit, they removed the mask on their faces. One by one, the youngsters revealed their real looks in front of the few hundred students. When the youngsters removed their masks, standing respectfully and looking at Yiqing Luo, those few hundred students who were crowding around were totally not calm anymore. Handsome men. A bunch of handsome men. Beauties. A bunch of beauties. It could be said that Devil Class was the representative of Heavenly Academy's attractiveness. It wasn't an exaggeration at all. These young faces were revealed in front of everyone's eyes. There were already students shouting out, He's the one in the portrait. It was this face. Look at his blue eyes. Yes. Those eyes can't be imitated at all. And the one beside him, he's also the person in the portrait. No wonder student Yiqing Luo insisted on staying in the Devil Class. Even the temptation of the class of gods was unmoved. If it were me, with so many beauties around me, I wouldn't be willing to leave just by looking at them. Ha ha ha. The students stared in amazement at the Devil Class students who had revealed their lineup, and instantly felt that they were about to be conquered by these handsome guys and beauties of the Devil Class. When the youths from Devil Class took off the human mask, Yen Zhenfei's petite body staggered a few steps back. She stared at the students of the Devil Class in disbelief, unable to believe what she was seeing. But the truth was right in front of them. In front of her eyes, these students had personally taken off their masks and revealed their true faces. No. Impossible. How could you be students of the Devil Class? No. I don't believe it. Yin Zhenfei's footsteps were unstable as she fell onto the ground in a disheveled state. She raised her head and stared at those faces, which were exactly the same as in the portrait. Chapter 1363. The portraits of Devil Class's students were taken out by Yin Zhenfei, and it had completely verified that these people were Devil Class's students. Yin Zhenfei's trouble finding, not only did it not bring about any influence to Devil Class, instead it helped them clear all the students' suspicions towards Devil Class. And it also allowed the Devil Class to once again stand in front of everyone in an open and honorable manner. Yin Zhenfei felt that she was like a clown at this moment. Everyone was laughing at her, mocking her. Looking at Yiqing Luo and the other smiles, looking at Yin Xiaoyi's disdainful glances. The hatred and grievances in Yin Zhenfei's heart burned even more vigorously. It's my idea to let the students disguise themselves. Yiqing Luo explained calmly. The world group is already eye-catching enough. If they were to show their faces in the interclass competition, it would easily attract the backlash from various powerhouses. She sighed softly. At least, we can't let the outside world know that the world group's members are Devil Class's students. So, students, can you help us keep this a secret? As Yiqing Luo said that, her lips curled into a radiant smile. Like a gorgeous rose blooming, it made the students lose their souls when they saw that smile. Good. Student Yiqing Luo, don't worry. We will absolutely not say anything. Student Yin Zhenfei is really too much, forcing Devil Class to reveal their own identities. Student Yin Zhenfei has now become a student of intermediate profound class 2. She was once high and mighty, but now she has fallen 1,000 feet. Her heart is filled with grievances, trying to frame our goddess Qing Luo, Pui. Actually, the students wanted to say. The news that Devil Class's students were the World Group's members. The people in the outside world had probably guessed it long ago. But now, a bunch of students started to flatter them. Flattering them to their heart's content. Flattering them to their heart's content. They had totally forgotten that under Yan Zhenfei's instigation, they even helped Yan Zhenfei to force Yiqing Luo and the others to take out the evidence. Human. What a ridiculous creature. Yiqing Luo's peripheral vision didn't even take a look at Yan Zhenfei, only smiling as she looked at Yun Xiang. Elder Yun Xiang's confirmation of Devil Class, are you satisfied? In the depths of Yun Xiang's gentle and benevolent eyes, there was a trace of malice. Right from the start, I believed that student Yiqing Luo isn't the kind of person who resorts to trickery. Yiqing Luo's lips twitched indifferently. The irascible old man Gui, you could no longer control his emotions. Enough! You bunch of bastards! How dare you question my student in front of me? Are you doubting me? He had wanted to maintain his demeanor as a teacher on such an important occasion. However, this group of little brats was completely ignorant. You stand up. Old man Gui, you suddenly pointed at Yan Zhenfei. I am Devil Class's teacher Ren. King said that my little lass Luo made use of the Imperial Palace's disciple to replace the Devil Class's students. Are you trying to say that I and little lass Luo worked together and colluded with each other to let Devil Class win the interclass competition? No, I didn't. I didn't. Yan Zhenfei was so scared that her tears started flowing. Old man Guiyu's reputation was known by everyone in the entire academy. He was simply a crazy old man. A lunatic that even the director couldn't control. Whereas the other students' attention was placed on the way old man Guiyu addressed Yiqing Luo. Little lass Luo? Such an intimate way of addressing. Could it be that Yiqing Luo had already become old man Guiyu's disciple? Chapter 1364. Rude and unreasonable. But it was filled with the intention to protect the Devil Class and Yiqing Luo. Yiqing Luo's heart suddenly felt warm. The other Devil Class students looked at old man Guiyu's back view and felt warmth in their hearts. Although this teacher of theirs was a little fierce and strict in terms of training, he was still a good teacher. But he was indeed a good teacher. For them to have the ability today, old man Guiyu had a huge influence. Woo-woo. Woo-woo. Yan Zhenfei was so scared that she couldn't say a word. Her tears kept falling and she cried until she couldn't catch her breath. If it was any other teacher, they might have been frightened by Yan Zhenfei's tears. But old man Guiyu was not any other teacher. Even if the young lady died in front of him, he wouldn't be moved at all. This kind of crying, to old man Guiyu, made him feel even more annoyed. Shut up. If you continue to cry, I will make you cry until you can't cry anymore. Old man Guiyu impatiently berated and threatened. His words successfully stopped Yan Zhenfei's wailing. She kept on sobbing as her little shoulders shrugged. She absolutely believed that based on old man Guiyu's character, he would really make her suffer. Student Yan Zhenfei has no respect for her elders and provoked the teacher. Old man Guiyu squinted his eyes and looked at Yiqing Luo. Lass Luo, is this considered as a violation of the academy's rules? Yes. The Heavenly Academy emphasized on respecting the teachers and elders. The students had to be respectful to the teachers, instructors, elders, and the like. Whoever dared to say anything harsh to the teachers would be considered as a violation of the Academy's rules. Based on the degree of disrespect that Yan Zhenfei has shown to me, what kind of punishment should she receive? Old man Guiyu shook off Yan Zhenfei's collar and looked at Yun Xiang. Yun Xiang's face turned pale when he was stared at by old man Guiyu. Towards this crazy old man, even the director had to give way, not to mention Yun Xiang. Although the status of the elders was higher than the teachers. But if the other party was old man Guiyu, even the great elder Yun Xiang had to be respectful. Yun Xiang coughed dryly and ignored Yan Zhenfei's pleading eyes. According to the Academy's rules, Yan Zhenfei should be given a serious demerit as a warning. Yan Zhenfei fell to the ground again. She widened her eyes and looked at Yin Xiang in disbelief. She shook her head furiously. No. I didn't. He was the one who gave me the portrait. He was the one who asked me to do this. It wasn't me. She burst into tears. Choking with sobs, she shook her head incoherently. Don't punish me. Don't. It's him. It's him. One big mistake. Two major mistakes. If it was really as what Yiqing Luo and Yun Xiang had said, then she would have recorded down two serious mistakes today. A person only had 3 chances to pass the test. If it happened one more time, she would be forced to leave the academy. Moreover, these 2 mistakes would be clearly recorded in her file. No matter where she went in the future, these 2 humiliations would accompany her for the rest of her life. Him. Who is it? Yiqing Luo understood the deeper meaning in his words as she narrowed her eyes and asked. She could roughly guess that Yan Zhenfei had been used as a hostage. After all, Yan Zhenfei was just an ordinary member of the faculty council. How could she possibly find the devil class student's portrait? It's... Yan Zhenfei opened her mouth and was about to throw the blame away. But her face suddenly turned pale. The crying stopped abruptly. Her eyes widened as fear filled her eyes. Chapter 1365. Yan Zhenfei's minute changes were seen clearly by Yiqing Luo. Yan Zhenfei wanted to say out that person, but she seemed to have seen something. That eyes were filled with fear, so much so that she would rather bear everything herself. That person. Who was it? Yiqing Luo narrowed her eyes as she turned her head and looked towards the direction where Yan Zhenfei's gaze met earlier. The dense crowd of students didn't see any eye-catching person. Suddenly, a clear and warm voice was heard from outside the crowd. What's the matter? President. President Yu. Why are you here? The surrounding students greeted in unison. Yiqing Luo heard the voice and immediately retracted her gaze as she looked straight ahead. The students opened up a path as a tall figure walked over slowly. His gentle and refined temperament was like a green lotus, quiet and elegant. His gentleness was different from Shishanglan. It was as if Shishanglan was always graceful and had a smile on his face no matter what happened. In modern terms, it was like a central air conditioner, radiating warmth everywhere. Whereas Si Yanmu's gentleness was that kind of quiet gentleness. He looked polite, but in actual fact, he was distant. Perhaps it was because he was the faculty council's president. Even if he was smiling, no one dared to get close to him. Yiqing Luo squinted her eyes as she raised her brows in interest. My devil class is indeed famous, even the president is alarmed. This tone, no matter how one listened, it didn't sound like a compliment. Instead, it revealed a faint hint of sarcasm and probing. The person behind Yan Zhenfei was Si Yanmu? But it seemed like it wasn't. Yan Zhenfei must have seen a certain place behind her, which was why she revealed a terrified expression. And Si Yanmu came from right in front of her. But no matter which direction Si Yanmu came from, she didn't have any good impression towards Si Yanmu. I heard that someone stole the devil class's admission portrait in my president's office, so I specially came over to understand the situation. Si Yanmu explained calmly. Yiqing Luo raised her brows, not fully believing him. This kind of matter, usually Si Yanmu didn't need to appear personally. Si Yanmu had always used Lu Shuiyu as a shield. Speaking of Lu Shuiyu, Yiqing Luo's vision surveyed the surroundings. He did not see Lu Shuiyu, who would follow Si Yanmu like a shadow whenever he was around. Speaking of which, ever since that day Lu Shuiyu had used a substitute. She didn't seem to see Lu Shuiyu. 7th grade Earth Profound Realm. He was even beaten so badly that he lost the match. He didn't know how many doubts Lu Shuiyu would face when she returned. How was she going to explain the matter of the Earth Profound 7th grade Profound rank? Si Yanmu seemed to know who Yiqing Luo was looking for. He smiled gently. Lu Shuiyu has already retired from the faculty council. She is no longer the vice president of the faculty council, so naturally she does not need to follow me. Left the faculty council? Lu Shuiyu actually left the faculty council? It was forced, or voluntary? With her obsession with Si Yanmu, was she really willing to leave the faculty council? Lu Shuiyu voluntarily left the faculty council. Because of the competition, she has been blaming herself. Si Yanmu explained patiently. This patience, in Yi Qingluo's opinion. He must have a motive. He mentioned Lu Shuiyu. What was it for? Yi Qingluo was still pondering when Si Yanmu continued. While everyone is here, I would like to introduce to everyone the new vice president of the faculty council. What? New vice president? Who is it? How could she become the vice president so quickly? You're tuning in to the Li Mei Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.